Thank you. Okay, good evening and welcome to the Thursday, March 21st, 2024, 6 o'clock p.m. edition of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Robert Tatro. I am the chair and I'm calling this meeting to order. I have my script I have to read first, so please bear with me. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals participant script, and we are confirming member access both here and on the live feed. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn, Mass. Zoning Board of Appeals is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by calling 1-646-749-3112 and entering the access code 944-571-349. Or you can join by computer by going to gotomeeting.com and joining with the same number, 944-571-349. All supporting materials that have been provided to the member of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Again, as a preliminary matter, my name is Robert Tatro and I am the chair, and permit me to verify that all members or persons present are ready to go and they can hear me. When I call your name, members, please respond in the affirmative. Vice Chair Michael Marin.
Present.
Mr. Cussy.
Present.
Mr. Chicolo will not be joining us this evening. Ms. Roach.
Present.
Ms. Bush.
Present.
And Mr. Garabedian. Mr. Garabedian will not be joining us this evening either. Okay. Town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jesse Averka, Land Use Coordinator.
Here.
Thank you. Gary Allard, Building Commissioner.
Here.
Okay, so I think I'm going to stop this for 1 second now, and I just want to read this real quick so we can get it done too. Unfortunately,
Mr. Chairman, before we get into it, I just want to check. Are Henry and Matt, are you guys able to hear us fine? Is the audio going out correctly?
I see that it says the podium is off. We have PF1, Jeff Board, Henry Resinka, and Matt Briggs. Okay. So going to the people on the remote here, can you all hear me? Can you just unmute your mics and verify that you can hear my feed? Does it look like anybody's paying attention to me here? All right. Mr. Briggs, can you hear me? I am. My mic is hot. No one can hear you. All right, so what I'm going to do right now then is I am going to request a motion that we go into recess. Per our laws, we have to stop the meeting until it can either be resolved or we have to reschedule. So do I have a motion to go into recess?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion as stated.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Ms. Roach?
Agree. Agreed.
Ms. Bush, thank you. Vice Chair Marin?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
And I approve. So until they can get this audio situation thing is here happening.
Right. No question.
Thank you. Okay, it says act.
Check one. Can you hear us now?
We can hear you.
Oh, I'm aware.
They can, yep.
Okay, stand by. Can you hear us in this?
I can hear you.
Henry, Matt, can you hear us on the, through the sound system?
Just from what I can see, the expressions have not changed. It doesn't appear as though either of them can hear us.
I can hear you through this. And you can hear me.
We can't hear the chair speaking. It's garbled.
I apologize for the delay, folks. Hopefully, this will get resolved shortly. I don't think there's an actual time limit that we have to prescribe to
Garbled coming through on our.
reschedule. But we're going to find that out in a minute.
He goes 3 days.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
The mother.
Yeah.
Parents take both kids.
They haven't taken, or they took, they did a test run. Yeah, they did a test run. and they said-
Oh, okay, on the main computer?
I because I work remote every day except Wednesday, so I was like, if you guys need help, I can just work from your house. But they did a test run and they said it was okay. So they're in Leicester, so it's not that far.
No, so what you want to do?
It's hot.
They come and pick them, or they pick up Zachary now, so, yeah, so.
Get around when I got my hair.
Yeah.
Best thing I've ever heard in my life right now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law used to come to me, but I leave the house from her.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm by the.
Check one. I can hear it.
Yeah.
It's coming through, but it's
But for
garbled.
some reason between, I'm not sure if it's not transmitting then outside of the building, because we have these two gentlemen who are not receiving anything. So it might be, it is.
John's checking it.
Listen. Check one.
Yeah, no, that's, I think I know what you're saying. So I think we have to,
Check one, check. Yeah, I can hear myself.
It feels so far away, but then you blink and you're. I don't know yet. I think we might have the one that's sleeping Amelia the 3 days. I think she might take Zachary too. But
Check one. Check. No, still garbled. John, you think we should? Okay, what microphone is that? Check one. Check one. Nope, still garbled.
Discuss if it can't be resolved, we're gonna have to call it. That's the proper
Check
protocol.
one. Check one.
It's allowed. You, I'm sorry, sir. I don't, I understand, but we're in a public meeting. He has a right to record us, sir. I apologize. I don't think you should actually have to create any
There isn't.
furtive issues here.
Why don't you reboot the whole meeting?
So it's an open meeting, sir,
you're gonna reboot
and because it's being publicly recorded and it's government business, they have the right to take pictures. They can record it.
All right, stand by. Attention, we're gonna end the meeting. We're gonna end the go-to meeting and then restart. So as soon as,
I'm gonna call it shortly.
Call it or?
comes back up, everybody log back.
No. I'll be security. I'm not worried.
Oh, no, I know you can be secure.
I was gonna say, do we have to get a pool officer here? Okay. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
I would call.
The police? Or-
Let's see if we can.
No, I would.
Starting it up remotely.
Sure. I'm gonna just get out of my, we're not, they're not taping us, right?
No. No, no.
I'm just gonna go talk to my friend Gary.
Okay.
Do you think I should talk to myself?
Well, if you want, I was.
So right now, folks, they're gonna try to reboot the system. We're gonna see if this can work, hopefully.
Check one, check.
That's always the best way. I really feel that neighbors should.
He's a super nice guy,
Yes,
and
they
like I
really
said to
are.
Darlene, like, when he was going through stuff at the fire, I never wanted to be like, can you move your panels? Because that's honestly, they're not rude.
Just say the mics are hot. We need the mics hot.
So, yeah.
Test the system.
Reach out.
So we'll
Okay, very good. And let me know if you
we have to keep the microphones on. Gotcha, thank you.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
right now I'm waiting to join session.
Is it already, okay.
He's starting it right now.
They are working on rebooting right now. I thought technology was supposed to make things easier. Haven't seen that yet.
Sometimes.
When you step out, remind us that our mics are hot. He has to keep them on even though we're in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good call.
Well, I think they're trying to get it to reboot, so they don't want to interfere as much as they can.
Is giving them a second round discount.
Oh, I'm sure he would. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Did this happen to any other meetings? Did this happen to any other meetings?
Nope.
Really?
And we're gonna talk about it after. Like, no.
Yeah,
You-
yeah, yep. Oh, yeah. Cheers. Text the lady. I'm gonna text the lady that owns this place and be like, I'm promoting your shake place online right now.
That was not me.
Buy
Making
water.
sure you all know. We can all have fun, right? We can joke a little bit. It's okay.
Can you hear us now? Okay, I can hear it.
Make sure to say something, please.
Yep, we hear you.
Great.
You have a very, you have an echo.
That's because my mic was on. And that's what happened last time. Someone in the room was logged in.
So is that what happens if somebody is logged in, it interferes with the system in the room?
Yes.
I had no idea. That's interesting. So I think what we're gonna have to do then is make that part of future agendas to make sure that nobody is logged in order to start the meetings.
Further, Mr. Chairman, can we,
I can-
once he
I can-
disconnects, can we reassure that no one in the audience this evening repeats that same mistake tonight? I would hate to have next month.
You guys have the microphones. Tell
Yeah, we can make sure that that's going on.
Yeah, I'd hate to, I mean, we're 2 meetings in. I'd
Yeah,
hate to have
please,
next month
please
go like
don't log into the meeting, into the go-to-meeting when you're in the room.
And I'm sorry to belabor it, but is there a way to test that to make sure it doesn't happen?
Well, you'd have to, yeah, you could do that, but you'd have to enter, you'd have to see who was in the meeting and if they're here.
Right. So it's gonna be kind of difficult to detect for now.
Yes.
Okay?
Can you just do a check to see if the people at home
Yes. Mr. Reisenkopf, can you hear us now? If you want, if you can hear.
Can you hear crystal clear?
Okay, crystal clear at this point. Mr. Briggs, can you hear us, sir? It doesn't appear as though Mr. Briggs can hear us.
I can hear you guys if that helps.
And who are you, please?
Jeff Board, I'm with Henry Resnikoff.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that. So it looks like we're just having problems with possibly Mr. Briggs. I'm just based on his picture, and he's not responding to us, so. Mr. Fleming, oh, I'm sorry, with the person with the last name of Fleming, can you identify that you can hear us or not, please? I saw, I think they put up a clap emoji. I don't even know what that means. I hope that's right. I don't think we can legally communicate with emojis, though. Okay.
I can hear.
Mr. Briggs, you can hear us now?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep,
Rick's
okay, we got a thumbs up from Mr. Briggs. He can hear us now. All right, so just bear with us, folks. We're just testing right now.
Looks like everybody can hear us.
Okay, I'm just going to go through one more time just to make sure, please. I'd rather to make sure this is documented appropriately. So, Mr. Board, you can hear us. Is that correct, Jeff Board?
I can, yep.
Thank you very much. Mr. Briggs, could you at least acknowledge, I know you're not really, give us a thumbs up or whatever? Excellent, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Mr. Reisenkopf, Resnikoff, I'm sorry, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
And I do especially appreciate your patience over the last couple of meetings, sir. I really do, so thank you very much. We will get to you as quickly and efficiently as possible here. Okay, so are we all set? Mr. Person with the last name of Fleming. Can you identify that you can hear us, please, or we can't proceed forward?
What's he doing now? You're making her bark. I can't hear a thing.
Hello? Fleming?
Yes, sir. It's on now, though. And she's barking. I can't hear a thing.
All right. So, yeah,
Was that her?
well, we heard transmission from that
I just want to,
line, so I feel confident that we should be able to document that we can proceed safely if I want to reopen the meeting, right? Are you okay? Yes.
Yeah, I heard her.
Yep. All right.
On your issues, it's on them. It's not our.
Right, okay, so, again, before we restart the meeting, folks, if you happen to have a phone on you right now, and if you're logged into the meeting, that's gonna make our feed not work properly. So, we would just ask and respectfully request that you not log into any meetings on your phones while you're in the office or in the room actually participating in the meeting. All right, so I'm just gonna basically start right from the beginning again, there's no point. Yeah, it's still recording.
Okay, great.
I got a hot mic and we're still recording. We haven't changed anything yet. All right, so I'm just going to start right from the beginning again. There's no point in not doing that. So again, my name is Robert Tatro. I'm the chair of the Auburn Zoning Board. I apologize for all the delays, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Again, I'm going to read through participant script. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone calling 1-646-749-3112 and entering the access code 944-571-349. Or they can join by computer by visiting gotomeeting.com and also entering the number join 944-571-349. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Again, as a preliminary matter, my name is Robert Tatro. I am the chair of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Vice Chair Michael Maron.
Present.
Richard Cussy.
Present.
Mr. Chicolo will not be joining us this evening. Ms. Roach.
Present.
Ms. Bush.
Present.
And Mr. Garabedian will not be joining us this evening. The town officials and employees participating when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jesse Averka, Land Use Coordinator.
Here.
Gary Allard, Building Commissioner.
Present.
Thank you. Please note that each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. And also, please note this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. If there are applicants participating remotely, we're going to ask you to state your name and address as if they were attending in person. So Mr. Board, if you could just identify yourself, give us your name and address, please.
Hi, Jeff Board with Bowler Engineering, 65 LaSalle Road in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Thank you. Mr. Briggs, if you could just identify yourself and give us your name and address, please. That's all we need. You're not coming back through to us. Not really hearing you well, so you might want to check your mic on your end. But I can see that you've acknowledged it, so I think if we are comfortable enough to proceed. Again, Mr. Resnikoff, I apologize. Can you please hear me again, sir, and identify your name and address?
Sure. Henry Resnikoff, I represent CEMS LLC, 65 Main Street, Unit 39, Iverton, Connecticut, 06442.
Thank you. And the person with the last name of Fleming, if you could just could you just fix your mic and let us know your name and address, please?
It's Fleming, an abutting neighbor at 7 Mount View Ave.
Okay, thank you. So when we start those hearings, we'll come back to you. Thank you very much for affirming all of that. Okay, so that was the first stage. The second stage is, we wish to thank the former Building Commissioner Caleb Moody for his service and experience to the ZBA. Over the past 10 years, he provided valuable input, and we are grateful for his time in Auburn. Unfortunately, Caleb is no longer with us. And I would like to announce that Gary Allard, sitting to my right, is the new Conditional Building Commissioner. Gary has been with the Building Division for almost 6 years and worked under Caleb's leadership here and in the Department of Development and Special Services. Through his time as a local inspector, he's experienced He is an experienced professional with over 35 years in building and has been a licensed contractor for most of his career. He's always ready to jump in a conversation and be helpful. He is very well-versed in plans, building codes, safety, and how to solve the problems. We absolutely welcome you here tonight. Thank you very much, sir, and we look forward to working with you. Okay, so now that we have that done, again, I have a lot of paperwork to do, and unfortunately, we just have to get through it. So, as a result of the technical difficulties we've experienced over the last couple of meetings, we received an open meeting law violation. I also went home and I read I watched the replay and recognized that there was a lot of audio problems you could see right now. So we made the decision to rescind all of those decisions, and we're basically going to start all of them over because we want to make sure that everybody is properly informed. So what I have to do is I have to read the complaint, and I also have to read the response. So this is from, if I may start over again, Alan Rafferty of 18 Paul Street, Auburn, Mass. 01501. And he submitted a complaint against basically my conduct. So the open meeting law regulations governing remote participation, 940 CMR 2910, state that members of the public body must be clearly audible to each other and members of the public at all times, and should the public meeting encounter technical problems with meeting remotely, the person chairing the meeting may decide how to address the technical difficulties, but is encouraged whenever possible to suspend discussion while reasonable efforts are made to correct any problem that interferes with the remote participants' ability to hear and be heard clearly. During the substantial portion of the ZBA meeting held on 2/15/24, there were audio technical difficulties that may have made it impossible for people to participate remotely in full capacity. This was outrageously evident to me during my presence at the meeting and on review of the YouTube video of the meeting that was posted later. You can hear remote participants saying there were problems. Despite Chairman Tetro's open meeting law training, he intentionally made no effort to pause the meeting to correct these problems or cancel the meeting despite the issues. They're referring to me. I just want to be clear. The buck stops here. I'm not here to serve my ego. I'm here to serve the community. So if I make a mistake, I own it. I'm a big boy. Additionally, the meeting was streamed and posted online with no closed captions to benefit the hearing impaired, potentially disenfranchising them from participating in the open public forum. For reference, see ZBA meeting video posted on YouTube Act TV for February 15th, 2024. And then it has a YouTube tag number that I don't even know how to read, but it's certainly public record if anybody would like to refer to the video that he is referencing. So the complainant's remedy is as follows. Read the complaint out loud at the next ZBA meeting, give an apology and an explanation of what he did wrong, and put written complaint in the minutes of that meeting. Committee members retake ethics training, get certified, and correct the chairman during future open meeting issues. I think they're really good at kind of correcting me already. They tend to catch me with most of my mistakes. That meeting and the decisions made that day should be voided and hearings redone, which we have complied with. Advise all parties immediately that the decisions may be voided, which was done. And correct audio problems and post meetings on YouTube with captions. So as you can see, we ran into that same problem tonight. We've identified the issue, and I'm sure they'll be taking steps to correct it after this is over. So now I have to read the response, and I apologize for as long as this is. Okay, just want to make sure I'm reading the right one. All right, that one. We have that one out of the way. This one right here. Okay. So again, this is directed to Mr. Alan Rafferty, 18 Paul Street, Auburn, Massachusetts, 01501, referencing the open meeting law complaint of Alan Rafferty, Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals, received February 23rd, 2024. Dear Mr. Rafferty, as you are aware, on or about February 23rd, 2024, you delivered an open meeting law complaint to the Town of Auburn regarding the Town of Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals meeting held on February 15th, 2024. Such complaint was received by the Chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals on Monday, February 25th, 2024. Again, referring to myself. The Chair of the Town of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals forwarded the open meeting law complaint to this office, informing this office that the chair reviewed the recording of the February 15th, 2024 meeting and acknowledged that the technical problems prevented the meeting from being properly broadcasted on Zoom. The chair has taken full responsibility for the error and has taken the following steps. And again, as I say, my fault, my mistake, my meeting, I'm the chair, and the buck stops here. That's how I do things. Mr. Robert Tatro, as chair of the Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals, has extended his thanks and his apologies to Mr. Rafferty for bringing this matter to the attention of the board. At the March 21st, 2024 meeting of the Town of Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals, Mr. Tatro will read the open meeting law complaint into the record, as I have, and summarize the events that have occurred since receipt of Mr. Rafferty's complaint. Mr. Tatro submitted all documentation relative thereto for the record and has signed and acknowledged of receipt of an updated copy of the COVID remote meeting guidelines. Mr. Tatro will instruct all Zoning Board of Appeals member, and I am hereby instructing all present and whoever may watch this meeting later, that we need to make sure that we are complete with our ethics training by the April meeting. The Board of Appeals is investigating and exploring the upgrading of the electrical equipment used by the town to broadcast meetings. In order to prevent future occurrences of the technical difficulties experienced at the February 15th, 2024, Board of Appeals meeting. The Board of Appeals has notified all applicants that were on the agenda of February 15, 2024, that due to technical difficulty experienced on Zoom, the actions taken by the board on February 15th may not be in conformity with the open meeting law guidelines. And again, this is subject to interpretation, but we're airing this on the side of caution. And have notified each applicant of the matter which was on the agenda for the February 15th, 2024 meeting and placed on the agenda for today, March 21st, 2024. Pursuant to the open meeting law regarding complaints, the law requires that the town's response to an open meeting law complaint to be sent to the complainant with a copy of the Attorney General's office and a copy to the AG's office. By this letter, the Board of Appeals has submitted such notice. Whereas the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals has taken or plans on taking each of the remediation steps requested by the complainant, the Town of Auburn Zoning Board of Appeals respectfully request that these actions be acknowledged by the complainant and that matter be closed by the Office of the Attorney General. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Very truly yours, myself, Robert Tatro, Chair. So what I need to do is, order to make sure this is done correctly, I have to follow some steps here. So, read the complaint. Indicated by required by law to the response to the complaint, so I read both. The chair reads the proposed response letter to Mr. Rafferty, as such done. So what we need to do is, I need to request my members of the board of the letter that I just read dated March 21st, 2024, directed to Mr. Alan Rafferty at 18 Paul Street, Auburn, Mass. Do I have a motion to accept this letter as written to respond to Mr. Rafferty's complaint from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
As a matter of roll call vote, Vice Chairman Maron, how do you vote?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy, how do you vote? Ms. Roach, how do you vote?
I approve.
I approve.
Thank you, Ms. Bush, and I vote to approve. So the letter has been accepted into the record that Mr. Rafferty will receive in response to his complaint. And I believe we have covered all of the essential work at this point. I just want to verify with the town side, have we completed all the requirements on that list? Are you satisfied?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. So, we also have, which I guess it's a small amount of good news for you. Our 6:00 PM applicant, Ms. Darlene Woods Belcedo, has requested to retract her application without prejudice so she can bring it forth on another date. She requested that she needed some time to review the plans. She did not realize that the amount was that small, and she basically just submitted a second set of plans quickly and was not really happy with them. So what she's doing is she's asking that if we could accept her, withdrawal. So do we need an motion, or do we just have to notify, I think?
Given that it's been continued, Mr. Chairman, and we're not continuing it, I would suggest that we need a motion to accept her withdrawal.
Okay, so what I would like to request is, do we have a motion to accept Ms. Darlene Wood's request to withdraw her application, and with returning fees except for those of the abutters cost?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the withdrawal without prejudice as stated.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Roll call vote. Mr. Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. So that is taken care of. Okay, so now we're going to go on to our 6:05 PM applicant, Paul Antonian, requesting a permit, special permit under section 3.9.1.2. I've read too much already, I apologize, of the Auburn zoning bylaw for home occupation located at 8 Mount View Ave, map 41, parcel 24. Again, for the record, this is section 3.9.1.2. This is, again, one of our meetings that we had to do over. So do I have a motion to open this hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Roach?
I'll approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. The hearing is now open. If you could just approach the lectern, sir, or sit up here with us, let us know what you want to do, introduce yourself, go over your plans, and then I'll turn it over to the board to answer any questions.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here for a permit to continue what I've done for 53 years at my residence. It's a home occupation. Along with COVID and the protocols to work from home, it's worked out fine for many businesses, and mine's limited. You know, I only help mostly the people in town, though there's been complaints, even along with chickens. You know, someone brought forward that I need a permit, which is why I'm here.
Okay. And what is the occupation again?
It's small engine general repairs.
Okay. So,
Which just not to interrupt you, but the future's all electric, and there's no oil changes. All the newest equipment doesn't require changing the oil, only adding. And it's limited. There's less and less. So it's not like a growing business. So what you've seen in the past, you'll see less of in the future.
So what they're predicting is that basically all of this is gonna go some kind of a battery or electric?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, we're not quite yet California, but, and this was all taught at Auburn High School. I've lived at the residence for 53 years. There is someone remotely joining the board, 7 Mount View Ave, she moved. So take that in regard, her first words were lies. Okay.
We can't
that's all.
discuss on what everybody else is thinking.
No, I
I'm just
know.
gonna turn it over to the board and find out from the abutters if we have any people that wanna discuss on this.
There was one letter. Mr. Rafferty opened up his statement. You know, I'm not set up for a movie star or anything, being live, but he just remotely just came up to the mic saying my neighbor's driveway's plowed in its private. She would not attend. She's 90 years old, and here's her letter, because she felt threatened, you know.
Okay.
And disrespect from that man.
So, I won't, I can't
Yeah,
take
it's a-
that into
it's a
consideration
simple
during the
thing.
hearing, but what I can do is I can accept it and then they can.
Yeah, it's a
put it on
simple
the record.
thing, that's all. It's nothing.
I don't really kind of need to see that right now, but I appreciate that. So thank you for that information. So do we have any abutters here that would like to discuss or comment on this hearing at all? Hi, if you'd like to approach the lectern, please, ma'am, introduce yourself, give us your name and address, tell us how you feel. And what I'm going to be doing is, because of the number of people here this evening, and that we're really kind of playing catch-up for the last 2 months, we're going to limit everyone's comments to about 3 minutes. We're not restricting anyone. We're not invading anybody's rights. We're just going to limit the comments to 3 minutes this evening, so thank you. Ms. Roach, you're going to be the official timekeeper, I believe?
Yes.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready, please, ma'am.
Masharoff Karsick, 17 Mount View Ave. We have lived at that address for 48 years. Never, ever once have we had an issue with Paul operating the business, and we are in 100% favor that he receive a special permit for him to continue. I'm not in a butter, but we live in close proximity. I can see his property from ours, so.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The next person, again, please just give your name and address and give us your comments. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Wayne Bellick, 5 Marion Ave. As I said at the last meeting, I have a world of respect for Paul, very talented individual. We're going to Paul for about 25 years. I had a situation a couple of years ago, just to kind of show you the type of guy that he is. I called him at about 2:30 in the afternoon. I was riding my John Deere, which my wife hates because I'm riding it and not walking. But in any event, it started to billow smoke. So I called Paul and I said, hey, listen, Saturday afternoon, I got to get this done or she's going to kill me. And so he called, he said, what are you doing? I can be over there. He came over. It was 2:30. By 4 o'clock, I was up and running again. It was billowing smoke. I went in the house, he did his thing, and I was all set. What I found of Paul, he's been very straightforward. He doesn't gouge you at all. In fact, he's done a number of things for me without charging. It's no charge. And I think that's the way he is. I find him to be a kind guy and just a great person to work with. I think he's an asset to the community. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
for your
Mr.
time, sir.
Chairman.
I appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, so it appears as though presently at the meeting, we do not have anyone else that would like to speak. Do I have anyone that has called in that would like to speak on this matter, please? Matt Briggs, a budding neighbor. Yes, sir. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself again, give us your name and address, and then your comments? I can't hear you. Oh, there we go. Okay, try it again. I don't, sir, you're not coming in well on our end. Sorry, sir, do you have any, can you use, I don't really know how to diagnose on your end what's going on. It seems like it might be on your end, but I could be wrong.
possible to get the voice calling them?
Right, can you use the, through the chair, can you use the telephone?
Well, that's what I was gonna, yeah. Mr. Briggs, it might be better for you to call on the telephone and sign in using the same number. And then you can probably get a better mic shot at us, I think. Yeah, so it's 1-646-749-3112, if you can hear me. 1-646-749-3112. And then the access code is 944-571-349. All right, so while Mr. Briggs calls in and we clarify his microphone, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this hearing? Ms. Fleming?
I lived at 7 Mount View Ave. I moved 10 days ago due to the noise constantly going on from the repair of lawnmowers, tractors, the traffic in and out of the driveway. I'm 68 years old. I've lost maybe 5 pounds since I started this move. It was really hard. That was my retirement house. I never planned on moving. The noise never stopped. I don't have screens at the front of my house because you could never open windows at the front of the house because of the noise. The business goes on Sunday through Saturday all the time, and in the summer, it goes on at 8:30 at night when it's still light out. It is a big problem. Maybe the lady down at, I wish I lived at 17 or wherever she lived, wouldn't hear it. But from my house directly across the street where he repairs everything in the driveway, does not use the garage because the chickens are in there. He does everything in the driveway, which directly affects my house. I have probably 70 videos of noise. In and out of the driveway, noise, complaints. When I met with the select board in January, which I hope you saw my testimony, they asked me to go on my Ring video and document all of the problems I was having, which I did, which I sent to them. I sent to Caleb Moody, which I just heard that he has resigned or has left. He denied it, which he lied because he called me and told me he had seen all the videos, including all the noise videos. It was something that I have never experienced in my life before. I've never had a neighbor that has been so difficult. I've asked him really nicely, through the years to, keep it down. I have been subjected since November to 70 calls on my phone of harassment. I have been subjected to a light show on my house almost every evening since November, which the Auburn Police has a record of, and they have a case with me, with him. He has almost ran me off the road 2 months ago when I was turning onto Southbridge Street.
All right, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you got about 10 seconds left of our 3-minute period.
I had no choice. Understand, I had no choice but to move. If this was you at your house, you would have been long gone a long time ago. Nobody would have ever tolerated this. You have neighbors that live far away. The guy on Marion Ave, he doesn't even know this guy. He doesn't even know that he has a criminal record, that he was in jail
Ma'am,
for 5
I'm sorry,
years.
I'm going to stop you now. That's not in the scope of this meeting.
It is. I heard
It is absolutely not in the scope of this meeting, ma'am. We only have a very limited window of what we can actually rule on, and it actually, again, I made it a point at the beginning of this meeting. It's section 3.9.1.2, has nothing to do with any criminal alleged activity, anything like that, except for that bylaw. So the 3 minutes is up, and I appreciate your time. I'm going to move on to Mr. Briggs. So, Mr. Briggs, sir, to you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. My name is Matt Briggs, 36 Arrowhead Ave. The back of my house abuts or looks out on Paul's garage. So the Mass Pike is on the north side of Paul's garage. I am on the west side of Paul's property line. So I've known Paul for all those 53 years that he says that he's been doing engine repair, and I believe that that is true. He first repaired our lawnmower when he was about 7 years old. So he does do work there. He has done work there for his entire life. And I have found him to be a fantastic neighbor. So my experience as a neighbor has been completely opposite to the previous speaker. And I hope that Paul will continue to do what he's been doing for all these past years. You know, in the last meeting, you also had Mrs. Luce, which is a direct abutter, speak for Paul. And I think her name was Deb, the lady who has the house next to ours on Arrowhead Ave, who also abuts Paul's property. So I think the only abutter that you've got complaining is the person who previously spoke. The rest of us are fine with Paul being there and hope that he will continue to do so. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this matter? I have a caller 2, a caller 3. There's none identified. I have an Auburn resident. Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the members of the board. And if they have any questions, they can go through them with you very quickly, okay? Or at their leisure, I should apologize. Vice Chair, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Given that we're being repetitive, and thank you for being here, Mr. Antoni, but just for the record, the engines that you do work on and repair.
Yes.
So I imagine there's waste oil. And what happens with that in your process?
It's recycled where you purchase it. Walmart, AutoZone, all places accept it. And be honest with you, if it was a vehicle, it could hold 10 quarts, and a lawnmower holds as little as 20 ounces. And if you were to drain it, most times it uses oil, so what you're draining is much less.
So we're talking very small quantities.
Small enough where the milk that you drink, you could use that milk jug to return it.
Nothing's being stored at your site.
No. I have pet chickens that roam the property, and there's no contamination.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything further.
Okay, thank you. Also to you, sir.
You advertise at all? Do you have signs on your building, or?
Well, this all started with Auburn High School, small engine repairs and graphic arts, which had me print small engine cards with my phone number as a project. I had small engines for not 2 years, but 4 years, because I taught half the class. I've been to the fire department in the early 80s to find out if anything's necessary for welding equipment or anything. This is all back to the 80s. It was all taught in school in a classroom. There's nothing that's bad. I'm helping people. And the only complaint, the noise, my house is brick. I pressure washed it 3.5 years ago, a rainy weekend. Instead of being miserable, like someone that spoke tonight, I said, oh, I'll wash the deck and solar panels. And quickly I learned, the time restrictions, that it wasn't 10 o'clock at night, it's 9 o'clock that you stop the noise. The Auburn police arrived, but I was done pressure washing. It ran out of gas, there was no hose connected. And I quit smoking cigarettes the next day, and I told that neighbor I'd live longer, whoever complained. And she's been miserable ever since.
Okay, so again, we're going to go back to that.
Yeah,
We're sticking to this.
the only noise complaint ever, when they arrived, there was no noise. The time limit, I found out that it's not 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you can't run equipment, even if you're washing your own house. So anyone saying there's been noise, there's never been the police there for it, ever.
Okay.
Just that one time.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Do I have any other questions from members of the board? No? Okay, and I don't believe we have anyone else that wants, just making one last call. Okay, we have no other people that want to speak on this matter, hearing none, seeing none? All right, so do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. The public portion of the hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion on the 6:05 PM applicant Paul Antonian requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for home occupation located at 8 Mount View Ave, map 41, parcel 24?
Mr. Chairman, before I make a motion, and I'll be brief.
That's okay.
But, I mean, I think what we have before us is, I believe I stated last time, is that we have a gentleman that has operated a business in a residential area in the past. But what he's doing is he's coming forward and legitimizing that business. And with the comments that have been heard on both sides of this application. Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve with standard conditions in addition to just having Mr. Antonian work through the hours of operation when the permit's approved, if in fact the board leans to approval, because of the fact that time of operation has been noted in a couple of the comments this evening. But that's the only outward condition I would suggest.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve, if I'm not, I just want to make sure, a motion to approve, standard conditions, with a caveat of being aware of the limitations on noise restrictions.
Noise restrictions as relative to business hours, but yes.
Right, okay, I just want to make sure I was saying it correctly.
Yeah,
for the
you're
record.
absolutely correct.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Maron, how do you vote?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush, for the record?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. Thank you very much for your time, sir. And again, I want to extend my personal apology for making a mistake in the last meeting and having you to go through this again. So this was really a technical error on our point. I apologize.
Thank you so much.
So have a great evening. Hope things
Take
go
care.
well.
Good luck,
you.
sir.
Okay, so do I have a motion to close the 6:05?
Motion to close at 6:05, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I approve. So we're just going to give them about 2 minutes. So folks, the one thing I want to point out too is the acoustics in this room are really bad. So if you leave this room and you're heading downstairs, if you could at least wait and comment when you get through the double doors, because if you stand out in this little hallway here, it just projects right over us and drowns us out. So it's really difficult. Perfect. All right, so we have the 6:10 PM applicant, AG Signs and Graphics, requesting a special permit under section 7.8 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to erect a non-conforming sign on property located at 54 Faith Ave, Auburn, Mass., map 61, parcel 15. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush? Oh, hi, that's okay. So do I have a motion to open the hearing?
I approve.
Thank you very much. And I vote to approve. The hearing is now open. Is the applicant present? Hi, if you could just go ahead and approach the lectern, introduce yourself, go over what you'd like to do. We'll determine if there's anybody that wants to comment.
Steve Samalis, AG Signs and Graphics, 139B Southbridge Street. My client for the Diamond Auto Group, he's not here today. He's out of the country. However, I'm here on his behalf. They want to erect a sign on the 290 Mass Pike on-ramp on that berm on the hill. I'm sure, this is repetitive. We did this last time, so I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with it. Because there's a little bit of confusion on Faith Avenue, getting into the backside of his property. People are getting confused and disoriented when they come back. They can't locate that back property building, which is a service department. So they would like to put a sign on their property overlooking that part of 290 Southbridge Street and that on-ramp.
Are there any abutters present that would like to comment on this hearing? Hearing none, seeing none. Are there any abutters that have called in or concerned residents that have called in that might want to comment on this hearing? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Vice Chair Maron.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will the sign be illuminated?
Yes.
And any hours?
Just normal operating hours. We'll follow whatever the bylaws say. You know, each town's different, but whatever it says, we will turn it on and off during daylight hours.
If I understand the application, so this is essentially asking for relief on the size.
Yes, it's slightly larger than what's allowed.
Thank you. Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Cussy?
No questions.
Mr. Roach?
No questions.
Ms. Bush?
No questions.
Okay, and I have none either. So with that being said, is there a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. Okay, so the public portion of the hearing is closed. So do I have a motion on the 6:10 PM applicant AG Signs and Graphics requesting a special permit under section 7.8 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to erect a non-conforming sign on property located at 54 Faith Ave, Auburn, Mass., map 61, parcel 15.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. You are all set, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sure you can contact the Department of Inspectional Services, and they can proceed with the rest of the permitting process for you.
Will do. Thank you.
And again, I want to extend my personal apology to you and for your firm. Again, my mistake. I just want to make sure that everybody gets one from me, and I will do my best not to have that happen in the future.
Not a problem. Sorry my
Thank
case wasn't as exciting as the last one. But.
Thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion to close the 6:10?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close.
Second.
Thank you. So Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
I approve.
I approve.
Bush? And I vote to approve. 6:10 is closed. 6:15 PM applicant, we're not past 6:15 yet, are we? 6:15 PM applicant, CEMS LLC, requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to render greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an Aquifer 2 zone on property located at 602 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 56, parcel 148. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Could you identify yourself, please, sir?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Henry Resnikoff. I'm the managing member of CEMS LLC. I'm the proposed developer for this project. With me is Jeff Ford, the professional engineer from Bowler Engineering, who has done all the design work.
Okay. So again, to you two gentlemen, I want to extend my personal apologies. The technical difficulties that occurred last month and this month are a little bit out of our control, but as the chair, I take responsibility for all those things. So again, please accept my personal apology. So do I have any abutters that want to comment on this particular hearing before I begin? Just none here.
Do you want us to give a little presentation first, or?
Yes, I do. I'm just making sure that I have 30 people sitting here,
sure.
so I want to try to figure out what's going on, trying to shuffle this. Okay, so the hearing is open, is that correct? I just want to make sure. Let's make a motion to open the hearing to make sure.
Mr.
How's that?
Chairman, make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. Go ahead, sir, if you would like to give your presentation.
Sure. We're seeking your approval this evening for, I think most of you know, Bentley's Pub. Our intention is to raise the building and build a new building. Specifically, it's already zoned HB Highway Business. The current lot is 1.12 acres. Of that lot today, 42,304 square feet, or 87% of it, is impervious. We are planning or asking permission to have 53% impervious, or 25,771 square feet. The existing building coverage right now is at 11%. We're proposing 5%. The other two key things that are very important is we're proposing to add water quality measures for stormwater, which do not exist today on this lot. And if you want any technical information, Jeff can provide that. All of it, along with all of the stormwater calculations, have been submitted to the town for the planning process. In addition to that, we're intending to do extensive landscaping in the pervious areas with meadows and low maintenance, low water use kind of plantings, which would allow more penetration of just rainwater back into the aquifer or drawing water. We've already been through the Conservation Commission, and we have their permit in hand. We are submitted to and hoping to be on the planning board agenda on April 9th. So we're seeking your approval to allow us to have 25,771 square feet of impervious surface. It's a reduction of 0.38 of an acre or 16,533 square feet. And with that, we can answer questions. We can show you some pictures if you'd like, if Jeff can share. Whatever you'd like.
I'm just going to go ahead, since we don't have any abutters that want to speak here or on the record, so, or at remote, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to the Vice Chair, Mr. Maron, and he can start the vetting process, and we'll go from there. Vice Chair Maron, to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if I could have you walk through the numbers again on where you currently stand on impervious and what you're trying to achieve for relief?
Sure.
Would it help if I share my screen if somebody has the ability to?
Yeah, I can do that, Jeff. One sec.
A picture in this case is 1,000 words.
Right. I think if you put up the green, the landscape one, Jeff, is the best. Or you start with the as is, maybe.
Sure. Screen 2, share. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep. Okay, so what you're looking at is the existing condition. As most of you, if you've been by this site, the entire site is almost paved, almost every bit of it. And then Jeff, go to one we're proposing.
Yeah, and Henry alluded to it earlier, there's a lack of water quality currently, so everything you can see drains down to this retaining wall here, and the stormwater basically goes untreated off-site. So that leads into this plan, which again, you can see all the greenery we've added on the southeastern side and the northern side.
So the number specifically is the current lot is 1.12 acres. The current impervious surface, the one you saw before this shot, is 42,304 square feet. What we're proposing and what you're looking at is to have impervious surface of 25,771 square feet. The rest of it, as you see, will be all landscaped. In addition to that, as Jeff said, we will be installing current water quality measures that meet the state standards, including oil water separator, hooded sump basins, things like that, that do not exist today, so that we have a controlled stormwater system for water quality and water quantity.
Any other questions, sir? Can I?
No, I just want to affirm, so you're increasing, you're not decreasing. You're actually increasing the impervious.
No, we're decreasing the impervious surface by 16,533 square feet.
Yeah, decreasing.
Yeah, decrease. So a lot of the area, you can see if you guys could follow my hand here, all of this green area, when you go back to that other aerial, it's all pavement, basically right up to the top of that wall. And it's rare on a 1 acre site when we do these developments that we're able to actually reduce impervious by this kind of amount. It's like 0.4 acres of reduction. So in addition to that, the water quality that we're implementing will make it a much cleaner site in addition to being less impervious.
Right, no, I agree. I just wanted to score you correctly, and that you were reducing impervious. Okay, thank you.
That is correct, sir.
All set, sir?
I am.
All right, Mr. Cussy, to you?
Yeah, no, I like it. It's a great improvement. I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Roach?
So I just want to talk a little bit about, only because there's a lot of buzz on this. So I just want you to speak to the entrance and exit of how people are going to get on and off this property. Is it going to remain the same? Is it going to change? I think there's some interest in that question, and I can see it in front of me, but not everybody at home or watching.
I
Yes,
agree.
yes,
I
ma'am.
do know that
Usually that
traffic has been a
that
concern. I've
question
heard that
normally
as well,
comes up
so-
under planning and zoning or the planning board, but happy to address it. There are currently 3 entrances to this property. We are proposing one entrance, which, I'm sorry, Jack, you went back too fast for me.
Yeah, I was
There's
just
currently
showing
3,
the 3 entrances here, and
Right.
typically that's an unsafe condition whenever we do design plans. So we were able to consolidate it to one entrance that lines up with one of the existing entrances, and then close the other 2 off.
and in addition to that, we've already gone to MassDOT, who has already told us that they've approved the plan already.
And
I
just,
don't know if that answers your question.
sure, but I just want to, I guess, state for the record for anyone who is not looking at the plans, there will not be any access directly out to Southbridge Street.
That's correct.
Oh, absolutely. Our intention is to keep the existing retaining, that stone wall that's quite attractive right along. We're not touching that wall at all.
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
Ms. Bush?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I just have a comment, not necessarily a question. And I'm looking at the green space that you're showing here on your plan, and I see where the entryway is in terms of the driveway, which would be more closer to the intersection of Southbridge Street and I think that's North Oxford, right? So, again, and this is just conjecture on my part, but, I've sat at that traffic light many times, and it's been backed up to, almost the 290 off-ramp. It may be advantageous to you from a business point of view to back that up to the other side and just make a horseshoe around the building, so you had one entryway in at the top and one exit out the bottom. And again, I think that might help the traffic flow, but that's up to the professionals. I'm just sharing my experience as somebody who lives in
The
town.
traffic engineer actually looked at that configuration, and Mass DOT does not want anything closer to the off-ramp.
Okay.
So they were satisfied with this design.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, and I understand that they have much more knowledge on these issues than me, and I'm just was sharing that. And also, just for the record too, if you look at it's actually just south of the bridge, the 290 overpass here. At one time, that was the additional entrance, but when they rebuilt Route 12, the state actually took that entryway away and built the wall there. And I can tell you from driving down there many, many times, there was no drainage put in that wall by the state. They went in there and they built it, and they just kept on trucking. And because that's not their job. They were building Route 12. They weren't building parking lots. But I do know for a fact, nothing was put in behind that wall. So, for the record. Okay, is there anything else either of you 2 gentlemen would like to add?
We're happy to answer any other questions. We think that we're improving the site considerably. We're reducing impervious surface. We're adding vegetation. We're adding a stormwater system that is up to state code that doesn't exist today. So we think it's a positive for the site.
Okay, thank you. Again, one last call. Nobody here at the meeting wants to comment, correct? Okay. And nobody online wants to comment? I don't have anybody else interested in this hearing. Hearing none, seeing none. Do I have any more comments from the board? Do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Chairman, motion to close the public portion.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Bush? Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Thank you, thank you, and I vote to approve. Public portion of the hearing is closed. Any comments or questions or concerns from the board?
Just a comment. I just want to comment on the record, I think as a board member, that I think there's no way to deny this definitely improves the site. It brings the water storm up, more up to code, obviously more green space. I think it's certainly going to improve really that whole area.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Bush, do you have any comments?
I agree.
Okay, thank you very much. I have no other comments. So do we have a motion? Did we close the public portion of the hearing already? I just want to make sure. We did, okay. Do I have a motion on the 615 applicant CEMS LLC requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to rent a greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an Aquifer 2 zone on property located at 602 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 56, parcel 148?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve as stated with standard conditions.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote. Mr. Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. So that's all set. Gentlemen, good luck with the rest of your process through the town. We hope it goes well. And
Thank you
again,
very much.
I want to extend my apologies for tying up more time than was necessary. So thank you for your
All right,
patience.
thank you all.
Thank you. We appreciate your time, believe me. Take care.
All right,
Take
we're
care.
going to let these gentlemen close
Thanks,
out.
Jeff. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
We're doing pretty good. I know it doesn't seem like if you're waiting for a hearing, but from up here, it seems like we're doing okay. All right. The 620 applicant, Webster 5, requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to render greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an Aquifer 2 zone on property located at 400 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 32, parcel 5. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Attorney Todd Broder from Fletcher Tilton here on behalf of the applicant.
1 second. So I just wanted to make sure that we have a motion to open the hearing first, and then Ms. Roach is going to recuse herself from this particular hearing.
All right, good. Mr. Chairman, motion to open the
Thank you.
hearing.
Second. Mr. Cussy, thank you. So Vice Chair Maron?
I approve. Approve.
Mr. Cussy?
I approve.
Ms. Bush? And myself. And since there is 4 of us, just to be aware, we all have to vote. And I know you are aware of this, Counselor, but I just want to make sure. And again, if I delayed you in any way, I apologize for any errors that I made.
But all right,
So if
it
you would like to
happens.
continue with the presentation, sir?
Sure, thank you. Here on behalf of Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank. The project we talked to you about a few weeks ago now, it is a complete demolition and redo of the existing branch on Southbridge Street. So there will be new drainage, all new, infrastructure to the site, utilities, landscaping, and the like. It's a complete redo. Right now, we have an impervious area of 42.2%, and post-construction, it will be 41.4%. So almost a 1% reduction, but again, over the 15% threshold because we are in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, thus the request for the special permit. As you know, I'm sure, we're also going to Planning Board and Conservation, and we have to make sure that all the new site measures measure up to the current standards, stormwater standards and the like. We're going through that review process with the Planning Board. We have been through one hearing. Graves has reviewed the plans. They issued some comments. We'll be going back to Planning Board in a matter of a couple of weeks. Hopefully that we get through that process, and we should be, able to satisfy Graves and all the concerns in that regard. So it's really going to be an entirely new branch there with a drive-through. Not a lot of changes in terms of what, areas being disturbed. There is a little portion on the left-hand side of the property that does have a little bit of vegetation, which is where the retaining wall will be. So there needs to be a little bit of clearing of that for the retaining wall purposes, but it's pretty limited. We're able to retain vegetation in the rear where there are some residential abutters, which I think is a real positive from the project. So it'll be a brand-new bank branch when it's done, and again, about 41% impervious when it's all said and done.
Do I have any abutters that have called in that might be interested in speaking on this hearing? I saw that as well. That's okay. I just want to cover this first, and then do I have any abutters present here that want to speak on this matter? Yes, ma'am. If you could approach the lectern, introduce yourself, give us your name and address. And again, I want to extend my apologies to you as well, in case if I affected your schedule whatsoever. I apologize. If you could just approach the microphone, please, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Nancy Mangola.
That one out. Can we just get, I just don't want to not see you when you're speaking. Can we just move that out of the way a little bit? That's okay. Perfect. That's all I asked for. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Nancy Mangola, 9 Kennan Terrace. I am a neighbor of the Webster 5 Bank. I came here on the first time to take a look at the plan to see how it may affect my property. I think I'm repeating. I want to be a good neighbor. I wish them well with their project. I'm not here for the aquifer. My concern was the trees. We have a plume of trees in between my property and theirs. That is my sound barrier, my emissions barrier, my light barrier. And that was my concern. So
We could absolutely make sure that those concerns are addressed, ma'am. We would definitely do that for you, because the key is, I think we've all talked about here, the Board of Appeals, we like to support business in the business districts, but our neighborhoods are most certainly the most important thing that we defend.
Okay.
So we will definitely take that into consideration.
I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Would anybody else like to speak before I turn it back over to the applicant? Hearing none, seeing none. Yes, sir, back to you.
Mr. Chairman, we really don't have anything further. I would just, to address the abutters comment, the little bit of clearing that needs to be done is really on the, is it the Arby's? The other, the fast food next door. It's in that area. There is a swath of trees that's up beyond that.
Right.
Which is not being impacted.
Okay. And again, you know, we've all shared that information before, you know, we just want to make sure that they have the correct buffer and, you know, that their privacy is respected as much as possible.
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing? Or do you have any other more concerns you want to express?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman, if you want to ask my colleagues, but I don't have any questions.
You good?
I'm all
Are you
set.
good? Okay. Motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Second, so Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? I approve. Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. Do I have a motion on the, I'm going to read it again here, the 6:20 PM applicant, Webster 5, requesting a special permit under section 4.3.5.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to run a greater than 15% of a lot impervious in an aquifer zone 2 on property located at 400 Southbridge Street, Auburn, Mass., map 32, parcel 5.
Mr. Chairman, risking our expediency, I can't help myself but to make a comment before
course
I
you can.
make a motion. But I do thank these gentlemen for coming before us yet a second time. I can share, I very much appreciate the neighbor, the abutting neighbor that came and spoke, and her thoughtful comments. I can tell you personally, as being a neighbor on Bancroft Street of this business, you know, this is truly a remarkable neighbor and a good steward of their land. I think that we're fortunate that they're interested in reinvesting in this property. And I think that I would thank them on behalf of the board, quite frankly, to the fact that they chose Auburn to do their business here. But with that, and I know you've been very indulgent.
No, and that's okay, and I would totally agree with you on that. I think we had spoken in the past that, you know, when they created their headquarters over on Millbury Street, they actually shrunk the area of the parking lot down. They brought a lot of stuff back into green space again. You know, to me, that's significant contribution. I'll steal every inch of green space I can, and that's just the way I...
Yeah, for sure, Mr. Chairman. I mean, this is truly a steward of their locations and a good neighbor. I think we're very fortunate to have them in Auburn.
Thank you very
And I
much for those
appreciate
kind words.
their investment. But with that, Mr. Chairman, as I'm holding all of us up, I would make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Thank you very much. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approved.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. Thank you again, sir. You are all set, and I appreciate your return to us.
Thank you all.
All right, we'll let those folks clear out, and then we're going to get on to the next one here, so please be patient. Sorry, my neighbor is letting my dog out. Sometimes you gotta take care of business at home for a second. Okay, 620, I believe, no, we just did that one. 625 applicant Amanda Carlson, requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for home occupation located at
Guys can go up
179
there if
Webster
you both
Street,
wanna sit down.
map
It's up to
39,
them.
parcel 2. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay,
wanna scroll
do I have a
through, it's
motion to
all
open the
there.
hearing?
If you wanna look at anything.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Cussy?
Approve.
So just for the record, Ms. Roach is actually joining us again. She only recused herself for the last hearing, and she is rejoining for this one. You approve to open the hearing?
I am
ma'am?
approved.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Ma'am?
I approve.
Thank you. I vote to open the hearing. So please go ahead and explain what you'd like to do, and then we'll take it from there.
Yes, we'd like to have a residential kitchen in our home. My daughter has a cookie business. We do custom cookies, mostly custom orders. We do the Christmas show here at Auburn, go to farmers markets, et cetera. It's not selling out of the house. It's not like we want to open a shop. It's just because doing custom sugar cookies, having a home kitchen, we do a lot of our baking out of a commercial kitchen in Douglas. But when you decorate with royal icing, you can't move the cookies. So we don't like leaving cookies overnight down in Douglas and then having to go back and get them. So we're putting in for a residential kitchen here so that we can do our royal icing work and put it in the dehydrator and minimize movement of the cookies to get them done.
Do I have any abutters present that would like to speak on this hearing? Hearing none, seeing none. Do I have any butters that have called in that would like to speak on this hearing? Hearing none, seeing none? Okay. Vice Chair Maron, are you, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here and your patience this evening. I read the brief, and so it doesn't appear that there's going to be any major renovations, no planned footprint changes.
No, we, as Gary knows, we just did some major renovations. We put a big addition on the house and moved in December. But the kitchen is just the standard kitchen. Put a couple more counters in, but other than that.
And as far as customer base, I mean, you partially addressed this, but I just wanted for the clear for the
We
record.
do events, farmers markets, custom orders, but we tend to deliver our custom orders, so it's not as though we'd have, it's not like you're going to have, it won't impact the neighbors. You won't have lines of cars up and down the road. If someone does come to the house, we have a driveway large enough to accommodate that occasional car to pick up.
How about supplies, the things that you'll need to create? So will you have deliveries or just go out and self-shop?
We self-shop.
Any signage planned?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
To you, Mr. Cussy?
Yep. Any employees?
My daughter and I.
Good question.
Thank you. Ms. Roach?
Cheap labor, huh?
Free labor.
The only thing I think we usually say this is just, we always want to say to the people, thank you for coming and doing the right thing and getting permitted the way you should. We know that it'd be easier not to, so we always, I think,
We started
usually
off,
Mr. Maron brings that up, to thank people for coming and doing it the right way.
when we started the business right before COVID hit, we went through, we started in Worcester, so we've been commercially licensed for several years. We started through Worcester Food Hub, so we made sure we did it right.
Great. No questions for me.
Okay, Ms. Bush?
Just one quick question. Do you have any like trash or waste, like any extra than like household would normally have?
No.
No, okay.
As I said, most of our baking is done down at Douglas Orchards.
Okay, I just wanted to get that on the record. Thank you, that's all I have.
My only question is, do you have any samples? I mean, I think you should have at least brought some samples. Just saying.
We'll be in Oxford on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I have no butters at home, I have no butters here. Do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close.
Second?
Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
I approve.
Ms. Roach? Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve. All right, do I have any discussion?
Only to echo my colleagues' comments, and yes, I typically bring that up, but, and I would absolutely agree, and that it's withstanding citizens that just come forward and do the right thing and legitimize everything that they do is impressive and admirable. But I didn't bring it up because I felt gluttonous in all the questions I was asking. And,
I got you.
So
I got
figured
you.
I might spread it out. But no discussion. I'll leave it to my other board members, so I'm ready to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'm all set.
Thank you.
Good, nothing.
Thank you. I have no further comments, so without further ado, do I have a motion for the 6:25 PM applicant Amanda Carlson requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for home occupation located at 179 Leicester Street, map 39, parcel 2?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Approve. Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I vote to approve.
Thank you.
So you can be in contact with the Department of Inspectional Services, and they will guide you through the rest of the permitting process to get your paperwork.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening. Do I have a motion to close?
Mr. Chairman, a motion to close.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
I approve.
Thank you.
I approve.
Thank you. And I approve. Okay. We're getting there. They left quietly, so we can move right along. 6:30 PM applicant Quality Worcester requesting a special permit under section 3.2.2.1 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to construct a two-family home on property located at 7 Maria Ave, Auburn, Mass, map 11, parcel 145. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron? Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. Is the applicant present? Excellent. Do I have any butters that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, I have a couple in here, but I have none on the call-in that I can see. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir, if you want to just go ahead over your plans and let us know what's going on.
So I'm just trying to put in a two-family duplex on a dimensionally acceptable lot for such. I was unaware that you needed a special permit to do so, because it does meet the dimensional requirements. I'm already into construction on it, but when I applied for the superstructure permit, this came to light, and so here I am.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just, and I just didn't want to interrupt his sentence, but if we could just have the applicant state his name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe Goodman, 42 West Mountain Street, Worcester, Mass. Thank you.
So we have a butters present. Would you like to speak on this matter, please? If you'd like to speak on this matter, if you want to approach the oh, well, actually, so do we have any issues with setbacks, anything like this that I am aware of on?
Everything needs go.
I don't know if there are any issues with setbacks, but I was out at the site earlier today, and I think there are some problems as far as property line disputes, and also I think there might be some conservation issues going on. So, I mean, it's up to the board how you guys want to handle it, and obviously, you know, we can hear the presentation and whatnot, but I personally was going to recommend maybe just continuing this to the next hearing, maybe get some more information for you guys, and then, you know, put it all in the limelight.
So thank you very much for the town, for that input. So we have some apparently town concerns, conservation issues, possibility of some property line clarifications. Are you aware of those things, sir? Or do you have any rebuttal to them?
So the foundation is in, the foundation meets all zoning requirements, there's already an as-built on it. You know, the site has been hydroseeded and stabilized. It hasn't grown because the weather has not been conducive to do so. The lot was surveyed, and all of the property lines are, you know, marked on site. So I don't know, I'm not aware of the issue that you're in reference
Chairman,
to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
That's okay. No, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Vice Chair Maron. I think you do better at vetting these issues than I do, so I'm gonna ask you to
Not
do your
better.
magic.
We are certainly equal partners. Help me understand how the foundation is in, but the site's not permitted to continue.
Well, so I pulled a permit for a foundation, not for the superstructure, for the actual building itself. I pulled a permit for the foundation, and I put the foundation in and did all the site work back in the end of last year in December. And then, you know, I went to pull the permit in, I think it was January, like around the 15th. And then that's when because if you read your zoning bylaws and the dimensional requirements, you need 10,000 square feet, you need to meet all your frontage, side yard, rear yard setbacks, and, I'm sorry, you need 19,000 square feet. I have 30,000 some odd square feet for the total. I meet all of the setback requirements in the particular RA zone that it's in, and, yeah, I mean, that was, so, in most towns, when you meet the dimensional requirements, you don't need a special permit, or I've never had that be the case at any point in time. Y'all have it is in your bylaws, I just didn't read through it apparently well enough and see that it was in there, but, because typically when you meet dimensional requirements, that's it, it's kind of done deal.
Okay, I think I understand. If I may, Mr. Chairman, if I may just follow up with the building commissioner?
Please.
So are you familiar with this application?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so my question is, with the submission of just a foundation permit, they're allowed to, and it's just my being naive, are they allowed to proceed without full intent of what they intend to fully construct?
Yes, so long as they proceed what they fully intended to construct. The permit that it was applied for was a single-family home on a residence. The foundation is designated on the plan submitted as a single-family home, and it was not changed until he just recently applied for a new permit for a two-family home on that foundation, which has not been approved by the building department, and the foundation has not received the as-built for the dimensional requirements. The site is not at all stabilized.
Understood. Thank you very much for that. And as always, appreciate the education. So I'm just going to bluntly ask, if I may, sir.
Yes, sir.
When you put that foundation in,
I
Did
pulled,
you intend, I'm sorry,
I did pull the permit for a single-family house initially.
Okay.
My surveyor brought it to light to me, the dimensional requirements. I re-A&R'd the lot in the midst, you know, in the time frame that we were doing the foundation. We re-A&R'd the lot and, you know, had met the dimensional requirements for a two-family building. And so that's why I went forth with the plan for the two-family and went to pull the permit for a two-family. But it does meet all the dimensional requirements, and I did submit the as-built of the building. It should have been on,
Not in the system.
okay, I can get that to you. I mean, the plan that I submitted with this, for this actual special permit has the as-built as the, you know, attached to it, so you should,
Well, if this is it, it still says single-family home.
okay.
if I can follow up on one quick question, because I just want to make it clear and give you an opportunity for the record to satisfy my curiosity. So when you submitted this, your intention was a single-family home, correct?
That is correct, and then,
And at some point in time, you decided that this would be better served for whatever purpose as a two-family?
that is correct.
And that's how you intend to proceed?
That is correct,
Okay,
yes.
thank you very much for answering that, and thank you very much for clarifying my education. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reserve, and I'd like to hear from the abutters.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one other thing, if I could,
Oh, please.
but it's zoned single-family residence on that lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is not zoned two-family.
Understood. Yeah, I should have gone through the chair.
No, 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 no. Oh, that's
Him
okay.
As well. I
Quite all
apologize,
right.
Mr. Chairman, but thank you very much for that, sir.
All right, so can I hear from the abutters that would like to speak? Please go ahead. If you'd like to approach the lectern, give us your name and address and express your concerns, please.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Messier. I live at 8 Maria Avenue.
Right across the street. Can we get this to show the actual land, because that's the neighbor's houses up there, so it's down a little ways.
Oh, so you just need to have that scrolled up?
This
Or
is
down,
the
whichever
actual
direction?
house that he's building.
Are you looking for this down here,
Yeah,
or?
because we're here, so that's that right there.
Okay, I mean, I can just pull up, if you want to give me a sec. Not now. Said you guys are 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's reliable,
It is reliable, absolutely.
unlike most of the technology we've been using, this should work. Oh, there you go.
Put 'em on my lawn.
Yeah, get rid of it. So I don't know if, I mean, maybe that'll show it a bit better with what,
Well, the original one.
Yeah,
showed it,
so-
was just scrolled down that we couldn't see the actual.
yeah,
Just wants to
I don't
see
know
this part.
if that works for you.
This part.
Right, right.
My name's Stephen Messier, so I don't think I said my name. We talked to Joe before. He came over, you know, we talked about the plans. You know, and at the time, he was going between it being a single family and a double, and not a duplex, but
Or
a
condos.
two condos. At the beginning, the plan was to have a house up on top, and then down at the other side, it's a ledge. If you've been over, you've seen the ledge, that they put a lot of dirt in there, and then he was gonna put a house down there, but, I mean, I don't see that ever happening, and I'm not sure if he's rethought that process of it also. But, you know, like you said, he has the foundations in, and all that, and, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's away from the front's away from the road, the right amount, if I have the numbers right, I think it's what, 25?
It's, you have to be 20 feet away from.
20
front
feet.
yard setback, and you have to be 10 feet off either side and 20 feet up the rear.
All right, so you just got to make sure that the folks at home can't hear that conversation, unfortunately. I really can't have you talking amongst each other.
Oh.
So we can have him address that concern when he comes back up to the mic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we see the work going on, I mean, and they're doing a lot of work, but, you know, it was, like, we had the same question, is why was the foundation done without the permit? You know, but other than that, my wife may have a few other questions.
Okay, so, and you're right, and we would definitely, but I just want to clarify for the record, he had a permit for a single-family home.
Right.
And then wanted to change it to a two-family. It
And
wasn't that any permits were not issued.
And that's
So
what it
I
is.
just, on defense of the town side.
Well, the foundation is clearly two-family with two garages. I've been looking at it for quite a while. It's right across the street. All those trees are gone. That was cleared quite a while ago, which is up to the builder to clear the lot and such. Anyway, a few questions we have. Number one, I guess you kind of already talked about it. Does this change the zoning now for our neighborhood? I mean, our neighborhood is clearly single-family. There are no multifamilies in our neighborhood. There is a nursing home, state-run, in our neighborhood. But, I mean, my concern is that I've seen in other neighborhoods in Auburn, we've lived here 4 years now, and some of these single-family neighborhoods, I mean, there's massive houses being, you know, it just looks massive compared to what's there. Our house was built in the 50s, and so were many of them in that neighborhood, you know, and so I guess my concern is that a duplex it's just going to be, you know, towering over everyone. But be that as it may, let's say my neighbor sells their house, now is a two-family going to be able to be built there?
No, so ma'am, how it works is, special permits specifically do not affect zoning in terms of the entire area. So your neighborhood would remain the same. This would require a special permit that would only be provided to this applicant. So it would not affect the rest of the zoning in your area. And quite frankly, I don't even know, now that we mention it, are we sure that we want to go with even that, if it wouldn't be I mean, a special permit expires when the building is sold, right? So this next abutter would have, or the next person down the road would have to come forward again? Is that actually even the correct path forward? I'm not really sure, I'm just asking for
No.
clarity.
Yeah,
I would say no.
special permit when it changes hands.
I think that's a different scenario. I'm not real, you know, I'm curious about that. I don't know if it's necessarily a special permit situation. I'd like to get clarification on that for the next meeting. I know we only have two paths, but I just want to make sure that we're clear.
Are you suggesting a variance, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm necessarily, you know, I just want to make sure that our paperwork is correct. We don't have the complete file, the complete application that actually states a two-family, so we have, you know, application corrections to make. There are questions on the town side regarding the accuracy of the property lines to make sure, right? So we have some questions that I just don't know if we're necessarily prepared to resolve this whole thing tonight. But perhaps we could get a list of things together for the next meeting to be prepared. I'm just suggesting, depending on what the board thinks.
The special permit does go away. When a property changes hands,
It's an ex,
Especially if it's a two-family, if they try to do condos, then you're gonna have two, right? How does that work? Because now we're talking about two families living in there. If they're sold as condos, now they're two individual units, special permits get split. That's kind of a complication that we haven't addressed before in terms of that direction.
no, you're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman.
that's a good call, yeah.
No, I agree. If I may, if we could perhaps finish with their comments and.
Okay. I'm sorry, I
No,
got a
don't be,
little,
don't be sorry. I wasn't trying to hurt you.
No, no, no.
But I've got to, because I'd like to circle back to a topic after we hear from abutters as well.
Okay, so if you'd like to continue, I'm sorry.
Can I just, do I need to reclaim my time, or?
No,
You're okay. We only had to do that for the early
I've been
ones.
on the planning board in surrounding, you know,
I
communities, so I
interrupted you,
get it.
so I'll give you another minute.
So just want to point out to the board, if you're not familiar with Maria Ave, it is a dead end. We refer to part of the property as the Thelma and Louise Cliff because there is nothing that stops traffic. There's an old stop sign, I think someone just put it there. We laughed about it when we first moved in because Uber drivers, Amazon drivers, I don't know if GPS is wrong, but they go flying by my house, slam on the brakes, and I mean, seriously, that cliff is just, you know, crazy. Anyway, My question also, I guess I just want to point out to the board that it's a dense area already. And another concern we have, of course, is the on-street parking that would come along with this two-family house.
And again, the parking part, we can address during the permitting process as well.
Okay.
If the board so chooses.
If the board chooses to give Joe his
Yeah, we
permit.
can require off-street parking, all those types of things.
Right, and because like I said, it's tight, and, yeah, so, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate
Good
it.
evening. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak, please? Yes, ma'am? If you could do the same, just approach the lectern, give us your name and address, and share your concerns.
Hi, my name is Mary Malone. I live at 4 Colonial Road. I'm a direct abutter. I'm to the left of where that property is. When Joe first had the bulldozers come in, they went into my property, took a big chunk of it. I had my property resurveyed. It's been surveyed twice in 4 years. There is now a divider, but in December, there was so many bulldozers coming in with soil and dirt. It was like a 6-foot wall next to the property line. At one point, he backfilled some dirt on my property, but with the rain during the winter, there's all sorts of nails, broken glass, asphalt that's showing up. Then the soil that's on his side is now starting to encroach on my property. It's running down. It just doesn't seem stable. That's my concern.
Okay. Any comments or concerns from the board on that?
So this lot was filled? So what you're saying, they brought fill in? I mean, you can't
from what
bury
I'm hearing.
asphalt, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of fill.
So, we,
Hold on one second, please. Are you all set, ma'am? Are your comments, have you satisfied your comments?
Well, yeah, there's, on my land, there needs to be more repairs or something, because it's a mess. And then I'm just concerned that there's going to be a wall of sand coming onto my property. It just needs, seems to need a retaining wall, it needs something. It's just, does not seem stable.
Okay.
There's been a ton of fill. In the end of December, there were tons of heavy-duty equipment moving dirt around, depositing dirt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other applicants, any other butters here that might want to comment on this? Hearing none, seeing none, I'm going to go back to the board. So round 2 on the comments and concerns?
Yeah. So there was fill brought in.
there was some fill brought in to, yes, but what she's referring to, I asked her if she wanted me to clear the leaves off of her property and fill in a low-lying area to level out a portion of her backyard with the topsoil that we dug out prior to doing any, to putting the foundation in the ground, you know, and she signed a contract. I charged her $1 to do it, but I can produce the contract, but I didn't maliciously go and do anything to her property. I explained to her what I was doing, asked her if she wanted to do it. She said yes, signed a contract, and that was how that transpired. So I do know where the property lines are. It is clearly marked. You know, I can have a surveyor go back out there and remark it. There is a silt fence on the, you know, about a foot in on the buffer line. I've put up a privacy vinyl fence so she didn't have to look at anything. That was also part of it, you know, to try to mitigate the construction, you know, and yeah, I mean, that's to address her concerns. I mean, you can say anything you want, yeah.
The soil that was put in.
All right, ma'am, you got to address.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
The soil that was put in is full of trash. It's full of nails and glass and asphalt. So that really wasn't the completion of the way it was when you went in. it is nowhere
I can
near
see that we
that.
have a dispute here in
Yeah.
terms of the quality of the fill.
Yeah, through the chair,
Yes.
if I might, this is not the forum for property disputes.
Yes,
We're here
yes,
to talk
I
about
understand
your
that.
feelings on this being a two-family and nothing else, and sir, the same to you.
Well, the wall of sand it concerns me.
I agree. You can bring those up with the
Yeah.
building department or in a court, but this is not the correct
Yeah.
forum for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I had one more question. So you had a permit for a single family?
Yes, sir.
And then you decided to put in a two-family?
Well, because it
Come and
meets,
get a new
it meets the dimensional requirements. So like,
But
if,
you
I'm
still
in a
have to-
I'm in an RA zone, and if you look in your zoning bylaws, an RA zone, if you have 19,000 square feet, 100 feet of frontage, and you meet the front yard, rear yard, and side yard setbacks, it is dimensionally acceptable to put in a two-family.
With a special permit?
And that is my oversight, and and it's a big oversight. I'm not stating that that is incorrect. I did not see that because typically, I just assumed if you met the zoning guidelines, then you were all set, and so that was my bad. If I have to do a single family, then that's what I'll do. I'm gonna build something on the site, at this point, I have to. I don't know how I would make a single family work, but I'll figure something out if that's what is required. But it does meet the zoning requirements for a two-family. I don't, to y'all's comments, I don't understand how, if you need a special permit for a two-family, how that would change after ownership changes. Once you accept it in that it's a two-family, typically, it would seem like that would be part of the assessing of the building, classifying it as a two-family, which would carry it therefore into the future as a two-family. So I don't see how that would create, when you change ownership, it would just go away. That, it would seem like you would need a variance, not a special permit, to do a two-family if what you're saying is right.
And again, I think the shortcoming here, and what I brought up earlier, is that there is a gap in language between those two distinctions with this particular application, I believe. It's not with every application because everyone is different. But I think with this particular application,
So what do you normally do if somebody puts in a duplex?
quite frankly, it doesn't, I've been on the board for a very long time, I know Mr. Cussy as well, and this does not come up very often for us. The last time we had somebody build a duplex in town was Habitat for Humanity, quite honestly, and that was quite a few years ago.
All right, well,
So honestly, it's kind of unfamiliar territory for us for a little bit too.
fair.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Timer was still on.
Occupied, maybe?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying, we need some clarification. We have a few things that we need clarification on, to be quite honest, you know?
Because personally, that neighborhood over there is smaller, tight homes, and to put them on the
Right.
Another issue I would have is just, you don't know who your neighbor's gonna be. That's a neighborhood where people have lived and they stay.
Well, but every neighborhood changes, and every neighborhood,
I know, but-
people move in and people move out, and if you build a house, I mean, there's a duplex and a single family is just connected by a party wall. It's,
Or you rent them, so.
well, no, I'm not renting it. No, sir. I'm gonna my plan is to condo it off and to condex it is what they call it when it's two units, and sell each individual unit as a single family attached, but you don't have that in your zoning bylaws for this town. Like Worcester calls it a single family attached with a zero lot line, but most other towns don't do that. They do it as a two-family, and then you condex it, and then it's a duplex. That's how most towns are typically.
All right, I'm good for now.
Thank you. Mr. Roach, I think you have some clarification possibly for us?
I do.
Or
I do.
possibly more confusing, I'm not really sure
I
yet.
do. Okay, so I guess first, I think just to clarify for the board, should we wait for discussion for that, you think?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Just go.
So,
good.
the applicant is correct. In Auburn, we do not allow what is called a zero lot line, which means if you have a two-family, you technically, in order to sell those, you condominiumize them, and you sell them off each as one unit. There's a couple other in town. 166 Bryn Mawr Ave in Auburn, for example, happens to also be the same structure, same setup. In Worcester, you can have a zero lot line, and you can do them differently, but we don't allow that here. A two-family dwelling, detached dwelling in the RA district, according to the table of our current bylaws, requires only a special permit.
Okay.
I agree with the board's comments earlier. I don't know that that necessarily is correct, but that's what we're working with right now. So I don't know that we can speak to whether or not it should be a variance. I don't disagree, but I don't think we have that authority.
Okay.
If I can just ask, on that
Sure.
point though, does it say detached? Because this isn't a detached, right? This is contiguous.
Well,
And I'm not challenging you.
No.
But I'm teasing out the language because that's important, that's an important distinction.
but I don't,
And we're still open for comment.
Most other towns call it a semi-detached is what they, that's their wording terminology, you know.
Yeah, I'm familiar, I'm familiar
Yeah.
with that, but thank you.
so I don't know if you were thinking of it as, but let's say it said two-family attached dwelling.
Yeah, I mean, it may, I mean,
Yeah.
it may be
We
an
could-
important distinction.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
And I don't disagree that we may need some clarification from town council. But I think that for now, according to the grid, a special permit is what he needs. One of my questions was going to be, are you going to rent it, or are you going to condominiumize it and sell it? You've already answered that question. I do have a couple questions on the lot itself. I know you're saying that you have the correct square footage, but I need a little clarification on where you get it. You include, is Lot 4 with the 9,952 feet, that square footage is included in your lot? Is that what we're supposed to, by this
So-
plan?
No, it's like 20,000, so there's, the way that it was A&R, which was approved through the planning board in November, late November or something, there's the initial lot, and there's a segment that cuts over to some backland, that's another 20,000 square feet, so it makes it like 30,300 and some odd square footage, which is in the plot plan that was provided with the paperwork for this, for this application.
But when you took your A&R plan, which means approval not required, when you took your A&R plan before planning board, was the foundation in?
I believe it was, yeah.
And it was on the plan?
The foundation was not on the plan, no.
Okay.
Or, I don't, so actually, if that was late November, so then the foundation wasn't in, no, because the foundation was in December. We started in December. So,
Okay.
no, it was not, because that was late November.
Okay, and for the record, again, I always talk, I know it's checked off, so I'll just say it for the board, but you guys know I'm big on water, town and sewer, water and sewer. So it's it would be connected to
And I've
town
already,
sewer and town water.
I've already clarified with both of them, there is 2 water connections from the water department and from the sewer department both. You
And
know,
those
separate
connection-
connection, they, separate connection for each unit.
And those are in?
Those are not in, no, no,
Okay.
no. So I was pulling the permit, getting started, because it was December, so you can't, I don't know about Auburn, but most towns, you can't go into the road until after the 15th of April. So that was in, I should have already had a framed house by now, and I, sided and roofed, and then, weather-tight shell, and then we should be on to water and sewer right around that time, but I'm pushed back a month and a half in this regards.
And can you speak to the foundation accommodating cars with the setup as a two-family if you intended
Yeah,
a
so
single?
it's off-street parking. There's a single-car garage with parking in the front of it, and there's room to park on the sides if somebody wanted to add an additional, driveway or whatever at a later date or something, but that's in between them and DPW. My permit is for two cars for each side, one in the garage and one in front of the garage. That's how my driveway permit that was done was stated for.
Okay. And right now, the foundation itself has a separating piece in between the two?
Yes, there is a 35 by 23 foundation on both sides with a 12 by 24 garage with a center wall, and the plan is to do a 2-hour, like, because it's a two-family, it's not required, but I'm still gonna do a 2-hour firewall separation, the same thing you would do in Worcester to meet, you know, it's 2-hour firewall separation, because that's how it's supposed to be, even though it's a garage and even though it's a two-family, but, you know, it should be done in the proper manner, and that's the plan.
And you, last question, sorry, I know
No, that's
I'm
okay.
being,
No, that's
you don't have anything in front of Conservation Commission, haven't been notified that you need to go before them?
No, I had this property looked at by Ecotech, yeah, 3-4 years ago, a while ago, and I was far enough away that it wasn't an issue. So that was I have a letter which I can send over or upload to the permit from Scott Morris from Ecotech, you know, and it was years ago. I don't know, it was a few years ago. I don't know the exact, everything blends together after a while, so I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm good for now.
All right. Ms.
Thanks.
Bush?
I think Megan covered everything for me.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions or concerns? Want to close the motion? Can I give a motion to close the public portion of the hearing first?
Mr. Chairman, actually, I apologize, but
That's okay.
before we do, there is a topic that I'd like to circle back while we're open.
Go right ahead.
And I do apologize.
No worries.
I've thought about redressing this and whether or not this is a rabbit hole, and I don't believe it is. But without being repetitive, so you put a foundation in with the intent of a single family.
So I pulled a permit with the intent of a single family, and then
But let me stop you there, because
Okay.
this is the point that I want to clarify.
Yes, sir.
When the foundation went in, the intent was a single family, is that correct?
When I pulled the permit for the foundation.
But when you put the foundation in with the permit that you pulled, was the intent still a single family?
My intent or the intent, or what I had applied for with the city. What I had applied for with the city was a single-family residence, as stated. During the course of the project, after applying for the permit, during the course of the project, it was brought to my attention that I could do a two-family if I encompassed some additional square footage to the lot, and so that was what I changed in the middle to do so. Obviously, I should have backtracked and amended the permit, and I would have saved myself this headache from the beginning. So I do agree, it was a foresight on my fault. But, you know, that being said, I was not aware that I needed a special permit. I fully and 100%
All right, and it's
believe
not my...
that I
Okay.
met the dimensional requirements, and that's all I needed to, and that it was just the application
Okay,
change.
and I appreciate that. And it's not my intention to beat you up on that point, because you've repeated that thoughtfully a couple of different times. What I'm trying to reconcile here is this is, Mr. Chairman, in my view, this is a case of asking for forgiveness instead of permission. Because I drove by the lot, and there is no way that a foundation for this property was intended for a single family. So at some point, before the foundation was poured, it was decided to put a two-family in here. And so what the applicant is saying is that he didn't know, you know, in asking for forgiveness, not to go back and amend the permit, but what's there is there now. And so he's asking for our indulgence to work with what's there. Okay, thank you, sir. Again, wasn't ill-intended, but I just wanted to nail that down, because timing for that matters. Because there's no way that you were intending to put a single family in that foundation.
So, no, I was not, but it changed in the middle, and I wasn't a case of asking for forgiveness. So, most of everything I do is in Worcester, okay? And so, in Worcester, if you meet the dimensional requirements, you meet the dimensional requirements. It's not, if you need a special permit, it says it right off the bat. You don't meet it won't list it in the dimensional requirements.
I understand.
So that was, again,
I understand, and I'm not trying to go counterpoint with you. I mean, in my view, you're in a position now where you are asking for forgiveness.
Well,
Because you're asking to work with this foundation.
Well, yeah, you are correct.
All right, but again, it's not my intention to be belligerent
Yeah,
in any way.
it wasn't-
I want to understand how you evolved into a foundation for this property when the intent was a single family. Okay.
But, so what gets me is like you applied for a single family and then you decided to make a two-family. You didn't think to come to the town hall and change the permit?
Well,
mean-
because
I mean, that's just like,
when I change,
I don't know.
Hold on one second.
Sorry. So my thought process behind it would automatically change over when I applied for the superstructure as to being a two-family. And so I didn't think it was a big deal because it met the dimensional requirements. So, and trust me, I would not have taken a risk because it's taking a risk. You don't have to, you don't have to approve anything. I don't know, like, planning board is, 1 and 1 is 2. A variance is, it's a maybe. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. I don't know on a special permit. From what I've gathered, it's more if you decide it's of value, then you get it. If you don't, then you don't. So it's not a guarantee. So I would not have taken a financial risk of this sort, knowing that I didn't meet, it wasn't, that I needed to do an extra step in the process. I would have done the extra step ahead of time. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing further from me.
Okay, so do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing? Anybody else? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, I apologize. Thank you. I think it's Lisa? Yes, she's in the butter. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Hi, Lisa, can you just identify yourself, name and address, please?
Sure, Lisa Crawford, 2 Colonial Road.
Okay,
I'm in a butter.
would you like to submit some concerns to the board, please?
No, I just have a question. If this is sold as 2 units, right, a condo, 2 condos, is there going to be anything written in there as far as how each of them are maintained? Like, I've been in the Worcester area, I've seen how these, when they're 2 units, right, 2 sold separately versus selling as 1, and you've got one side that maintains and one side that doesn't. Is there any special thing that has to be done so that you know that it's gonna be maintained?
I think I can comment on that.
You did it, right? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope,
I'm going to let our resident expert, Ms. Roach, answer that question for you.
hardly, but through the chair. So Lisa, to answer your question, typically, when the units are condominiumized, there will be a condominium trust that's recorded that spells out the responsibilities of each owner. With that being said, though, I want to, I guess, just comment to say, just like every neighborhood, I'm sure if everyone closes their eyes, they can picture the one house on their street where they disagree with the way the neighbor maintains the house. So, policing all your neighbors and how everybody maintains is a tough thing to do. But I can say, I think, that typically when units are owned as opposed to rented, they do typically tend to be maintained a little bit better. And there is a requirement for there to be a trust, a condo trust, where each of the parties maintains their side, pays into a common insurance fund, things like that. As far as it being a foolproof, again, I guess I would say, you have no control over what any of your neighbors, do or don't do to their house. But
No problem, I just didn't understand how it worked. That's all.
I'm sorry, Lisa, could you repeat that a little slower, please, and and speak up a little bit? You're coming in like you're speaking into a tin can on this end.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how condos worked as far as that went, because we don't have 2-family homes in New Hampshire. So, I'm all set. That was my only question.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Is anybody else? No? Okay.
So I have one more question. So these can be sold and be rented? So they could just be a rental?
yes, if the applicant sells them to me, I can rent them as the owners, of course. There's no residency requirement on it. That's not like an accessory apartment, where here we have a residency requirement on accessory apartment. There would be no residency requirement on these, transferred or not.
Good to know. Okay, so I'd like to request, do we have if we have nothing else, do we have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
I vote to approve. Around the table to you, sir.
In consideration, when we started the hearing, Mr. Chairman, I think that there were some points raised by Jesse we might take into consideration. I also think that maybe the board wants to gain some advice on the type of application this should be. And that would put us in a strong position to either through the building commissioner's office or redress of the hearing, help advise the applicant on a certain direction, so that he doesn't find himself in jeopardy in any particular direction. For me, I mean, I have concerns on the origin and the intent, but I know that that's not what we lean toward, and how this developed. But I'm sensitive to what's there now. I did view the property, as well as the scope of the neighborhood, and I think that and I thank the abutters for showing up and giving us their flavor, because I came away with it with the same sense of questioning if this would fit, if this would fit in that neighborhood, and how, and that is part of our scope, right? Is it if this in fact would fit? So, I fall back on the original advice of getting some more information, and perhaps advising the applicant, if he were open to it, to request a continuance, so that we could do some more fact-finding around it.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable taking a vote tonight, to be blunt.
Okay.
I
Mr.
agree
Cussy?
with Mike as far as not taking a vote. The special permit thing, kind of, we have to figure out what, I mean, if this property changes hands, does the special permit go away?
Right. There's a lot of, just, again, I think
A
there's
lot of
some.
unknown.
These are kind of, sort of like newer events that have come up more recently in terms of building and construction, and our bylaws have not reflected those changes yet. So I think we just need to make sure that we can proceed with caution and do things so they are properly documented and everything is correct.
Yeah, because this is a.
For all parties concerned. We don't want to waste
Exactly,
anybody's time
exactly,
or money.
Exactly. It's for
Right.
everybody's,
Okay.
need clarification.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we typically work very well with our building inspectional services team, and I think when they have concerns, we always are on the side of making sure that their concerns are addressed. I certainly want to give the applicant, the full chance to take this thing forward, but I don't know that a vote tonight would be the right thing to do. I think we need some more information. I'd probably want some clarification on whether or not Concom does need to weigh in on this. I think before the next meeting, we could probably get some information on that, as well as maybe some questions for town council if we think that's appropriate.
Okay. Ms. Bush?
I agree with what everybody's been saying.
Okay.
I know. You
Nothing
go.
to add. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a list here practically, so, we had made some comments earlier, there was some concerns about property line distinctions and clarifications and permit clarifications and paperwork that needs to be caught up. We might even consider another site walkthrough, just a request to make sure that everybody that has expressed concerns tonight has been addressed. And then we can kind of pick it up from there, I think, right?
Sounds good.
Through the chair.
Yeah, it does.
Just one more additional thing, especially to make specific reference to the abutters and the concerns. I think the building department, when they go out there, can speak to certain things like retaining wall,
Yeah.
full site approval to make sure that if this is allowed, the neighbors, especially direct abutters, are not having any damage done to their property. That certainly is a concern. Property line disputes, we know are not, but obviously retaining walls and things that are necessary to make the project work without interfering with the neighbor's property is certainly a concern of ours.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I think we can just,
We need to reopen, though, if he's
I was
going to
gonna say, you
continue.
want to reopen and do that?
Yeah, I
Or you
would-
want to just suggest that we can vote for a continuance?
We can, we certainly can. We can strong arm it or ask the applicant if he
Right.
wishes to continue. But,
Okay.
But I don't have a strong preference either way, Mr. Chairman, but I
Okay,
would.
we'll open it again.
Yeah, I would, if you want, we want to give the applicant an opportunity to weigh into some of the comments. I wouldn't want to open it up for a debate, but I think he would feel how we would lean on not,
Right.
I mean, it would certainly be his privilege to ask us to take a vote tonight.
Right.
But I leave it to his discretion on what he would want to decide.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I agree. With that being said, can we reopen the hearing? Motion open?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to reopen the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
Okay, so you heard the discussion here, sir. So at the very least, we'd like to get clarification on some of the concerns that were raised on the town side and try to straighten out the application discrepancies, what they may be. So what we would like to propose, that if you would like to request a continuance, we can do that and put it on the next meeting. We can have a lot more clarification, and we might be closer to be able to make a decision on this situation that might be suitable for all parties concerned. That's really what we're trying to do here. So we'd like to be able to dot our i's, cross our t's, go check the books a little bit, and then come back next month if that's okay with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I need you to ask to request a...
Can you continue it to the next meeting?
Yes, so we have a request for continuance from the applicant. Do I have a motion to accept the applicant's request to continue?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the applicant's request for a continuance on the hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Vice Chair Maron.
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. So you'll be on the agenda for next month?
What is that date, sir?
Hang on one second, actually, good question.
April 18th.
April 18th? Thank you very much. So it'll be April 18th. This hearing remains open. We're not going to close it, so if there's any public comment or any other concerns, they can also record. But this way, we don't have to go through all that. Next time you come in, this is just a continuation of this hearing, so to speak.
Perfect.
Okay?
All right.
All right, thank you very much for your time, sir. Have a great night.
Good evening.
Sir.
Thank you.
Okay. And last but not least,
There's one on the back, too.
Hmm?
There's one on the back.
there's one in the back? Who snuck that one in? Okay. 6:35 PM applicant Amber Fontes requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation located at 5 Athens Street, map 66, parcel 26. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Maron.
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. Is the applicant present? Hi. Thank you very much for your patience. If you could approach the lectern and, I'm sorry?
I was hoping I was before that.
I know, I apologize.
I was like, it's my turn.
I don't get to pick the order. We just kind of go with the batting average, you know?
No, you're good, you're good. Hi, I'm Amber Fonts, and I'm looking for a permit to do a residential kitchen, so I'm the second one tonight, at 5 Athens Street. I have previously held a residential kitchen permit in the town of Taunton, and went through a similar process there. And before moving to Auburn, I contacted Jordan with the Board of Health to make sure that it was something that would be allowed. The only difference is in Taunton, you're required to have an entirely separate kitchen, and that's town by town discrepancy. So I have a lot of equipment already. So rather than having my home kitchen permitted, it's like a separate kitchen in my basement. When we purchased the property, there was already an existing recreational room that was fully finished with countertop in it. And we worked with the plumbing department to have a sink installed. I wanted to have a 3-bay sink for proper sanitizing and warewashing, so they said that we needed to have a grease trap put in. And the electrical on the property was a fuse box. It was built in '65. So there was already electrical upgrading that needed to be done. So there was no additional construction or building that needed to be done, just upgrading the electrical, putting in a oven, what's it called, a 20, whatever you need for an oven. Sorry, I'm not an electrician.
That's okay.
So just putting that in and having approval for a permit for a 3-bay sink. Other than that, I mean, it's existing walls, existing flooring, and it just enables me to have the same capacity that I had where I was before. Again, just as the previous permit person was requesting for the residential kitchen, there will be no customers on site, no signage. Deliveries is reserved for like Amazon. No like food service delivery trucks, and it would be for doing farmers markets. I currently am working out of a commercial kitchen in Oxford, and I serve breakfast there. I have 2 small children. It would be a lot nicer to be able to do some of that work from home. Because that's what I used to do. I used to work overnights from home and then go sell in other places. So that is what I would like to do here as well.
And what is the product that you're making, or products?
So anything that is not hot or cold held is covered by a residential kitchen permit. So I do pies for Thanksgiving. I specialize in different flavors of cinnamon rolls, turnovers, cupcakes, cookies. So anything that is not potentially hazardous food is allowed to be served as long as I have a menu provided to the Board of Health. I was a ServSafe proctor. I am ServSafe certified. I've been in restaurant management and have all of the certifications that are required for that.
Okay. Do we have any abutters that would like to speak on this matter? Nobody present, hearing none, seeing none. Do I have anybody that called in that might be interested in speaking on this matter?
Did a woman raise her hand?
Did I see somebody back there? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am, we just still need you to... We are present. No, I need you to come up to the microphone, because the folks at home have to hear you. I apologize. Maybe we need a mic to walk around like a...
No, we haven't. My name is Maureen Koviak, and I am in a butter. But she's given a great explanation as to what's going on, and we just don't really have any questions at all. As long as what she's saying is going to be the way that it is. Thank you, and it sounds great.
Okay, any other abutters that would like to speak on this matter, or from the call-in? All right, hearing none, seeing none. Vice Chair Maron, to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your patience this evening. You've obviously anticipated all of our questions, right? So, very thorough presentation and very impressive. And I'll say in the onset, I mean, and again, very admirable to come forward. You certainly have some experience in this area. Just to recap a couple of main areas and to confirm. So, this equipment, the function of your home occupation will be in the basement.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll reserve a question for the building commissioner, but you touched upon a couple of points. So in the basement, I mean, I'm quite familiar with that kind of setup, and in our family, we just call that being Italian.
When in my previous home, it was called being Portuguese.
Yeah.
Because we're cousins, absolutely. Yes, no, absolutely. And we have the museum upstairs that nobody uses, right? No, thank you. And your product line seems to include everything that my wife no longer lets me eat. But
I will comment, my business is called Wholesome Sweets because everything is artificial, like preservative-free, all natural, so she might let you slide.
don't think I won't bring that back to her directly. Very, thank you very much. I don't have any direct questions for the applicant, Mr. Chairman. If I may, though, I just wanted to follow up with the building commissioner's office. Has this site been, with the work that's been conducted, has this site been inspected? No. Okay. And so there hasn't been any permitting pulled for the work that's
I don't know for the electrical or the plumbing.
Okay.
I just don't believe any building permit has been pulled.
Okay.
Right, like I said, there's like no building construction of anything. It was already a finished space, and the electrical did need to be updated. I just had electrical finished in the basement last week, so that has not, like, the permits are open, they have not been finalized.
Okay, but you have open permits for that work?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, I have full faith in our health department in their process and following this forward. So I don't have any additional questions. Thank you for being here.
I would just like to thank you because this process has actually been easier than it was in Taunton. A lot of people warned me. They said, Auburn's really difficult, and I said, actually, this seems pretty standard. And it's been very smooth as far as
Well, that's
the
good.
process
Glad to
goes.
hear
So
that.
I appreciate it.
That's great feedback. I don't know that some of your peers out there would agree with that, but we will take that compliment and appreciate that very much.
Okay, Mr. Cussy?
I have no questions. I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Roach?
I have no questions.
Ms. Bush?
I have no questions.
You answered all of mine through the presentation, quite frankly, so...
It was good.
Do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close the public portion of the
Do I
hearing.
have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
I vote to approve. Do I have an applicant for, do I have a motion for the 6:35 PM applicant Amber Fontes requesting a special permit under section 3.9.1.2 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a home occupation located at 5 Athens Street, map 66, parcel 26?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve with standard conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Good luck
thank
to
you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
We'll take it.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. And we made it to the last one. Here we are. 6:40 PM applicant, GM Properties LLC, requesting a variance under section 9.5 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to provide for relief from the side setback requirement in table 5.4, is a reference for the board, on Auburn zoning bylaw on property located at 404 Oxford Street, Auburn, Mass, map 40, parcel 82. Is the applicant present?
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. 1 second. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to open the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Layout?
All in favor, excuse me, no,
Yeah.
Mr. Maron?
I approve.
Mr.
Yeah,
Cussy?
you guys-
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
I vote to approve.
When did you send it in?
Later in the day.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, if you have the layout plan, I think that may be.
Yeah, yeah, I should have everything that came in the initial, I imagine that's probably towards the bottom, right? Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and if you would scroll on.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, sir.
We all set, Mr.?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to give you a presentation, I can either check for abutters and then turn it over to the board.
Excellent. So just for the record, my name is Joshua Lee Smith. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Bowditch and Dewey. I am here tonight representing the applicant, GM Properties LLC, in connection with this request petition that we submitted to this board requesting a variance for what I would describe as a de minimis variance in connection with bulkheads that are part of this project. So with me this evening is George Markopoulos, who is the principal of GM Properties. It's been a long night, so I promise to be brief. This site it's about a 2-acre site in size. It is located within the RA district, so it's a residential district right across the street from the recreational complex. What my client has already constructed, so this project is well underway, and it's actually probably about 3 months away from being complete, totally complete, is the construction of 2 buildings, containing a total of 6 units. And they're made up of 1 2-unit building and 1 4-unit building. So again, total of 6 units. What happened in this case is my client, prior to actual commencement of construction of the project, my client had made a determination that he wanted to opt for basements in both of these buildings. So what was approved by the town were slab-on-grade design. So my client, being the prudent person that he is, went to the building department, disclosed that to the building department, indicated that he wanted to have basements in order to have more room for mechanical systems and storage. The building inspector approved that, signed off on the building permit, and then my client was off and running with respect to his construction. So as part of that construction, as I said, it is almost complete at this point. Certainly all the exterior work, the framing, siding, roofing, all of that is complete at this point. Because there are basements within these buildings, as part of these buildings, there are also bulkhead access leading to the basements. So what we are here for tonight is with respect to these bulkheads. And what my client did not realize at the time was that the bulkheads within the RA district, I think a couple applicants before had mentioned, with respect to the side yard setback, there's a minimum of 10 feet in the RA district. So the bulkheads are as close as 7 feet away from the side lot line. And what my client did not realize is, number one, that there was an encroachment into that minimum setback, into that 10-foot minimum setback, number one. And number two, that these bulkheads were even subject, that they were considered part of a structure and subject to these minimum side yard setback. So we had discussions with the building inspector. Just in an abundance of caution, we're not necessarily saying that the bulkheads are, in fact, subject to this or require variance, but we do want to come before this board as we're near completion of this project, seek the variance in order to make this clean, complete construction. So in essence, we'd be seeking a 3-foot variance with respect to these bulkheads. And that's what we're here for this evening.
Okay. Do we have any abutters present that would like to speak on this particular application? Hearing none, seeing none. Do we have any online that might be interested in speaking on this application? Hearing none, seeing none. I'll go to you, Mr. Maron. Interested in the line of questioning?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand what's before us, but to reach the requirements of a variance, are we saying that there's no other way based on the topology of this lot, or are we saying because it's already been built and there isn't anything else to do but offer relief?
It's in part both. So I think the second part of your comment certainly speaks to the hardship. This is already built. My client did not, again, I'll make reference to the applicant, a couple applications before who sort of, I think, knew what they were doing with respect to that foundation. This is not that case at all. My client immediately, even before any construction was commenced, went before to the building department, indicated what he was looking to do. The plans were updated with respect to the basements, including the bulkheads, and then the construction commenced. So it certainly it would absolutely meet a hardship test in the event, in connection with the variance standard.
But if that occurred, and I'm not suggesting it didn't, but if that occurred, what response did they say? Clearly, they didn't say, just go ahead and do it, based on the fact that you didn't meet setbacks.
The building permit was issued. The plans were submitted in connection with the building permit, and the building permit was issued. There was full transparency, full disclosure.
So
I want to make that clear.
All right, I understand. So let me just clarify that. So building permit was issued recognizing that they didn't meet the setbacks for what they were planning to do. That's his contention.
But unfortunately, the building permit was issued, the plans that were submitted did not show the Bilco doors.
Okay.
On the foundation plan, they were added afterwards. And I think, and I had dealt with them considerably on this, because this made a dilemma for the building department when this came to our attention.
Sure.
And it's not clear whether relief is needed for this. The bylaws specify that stairs going into these setbacks are okay. Now, these stairs are not actually like what you would consider stairs at a house.
Right.
They're required for service stairs. They cannot be used in the means of egress. So if you wanted to build something in the basement, you cannot use it. You would have to cover the stairs or build the walls, build a roof, and a door. So it's kind of like it's a stair with a waterproof covering on the top of it. So that's, the part with that, for them to get their permit continue, the way they can continue is, because stairs are allowed in the setback, is they would have to put railings on that, and down, and they have to put drainage in, and of course now we'd have just like an empty well there, which would be very problematic for the owner. So, this has been kind of a dilemma going on, and I understand that. A lot of places, they don't even look at this. Bilco going into the setback is not even considered. So I've spoke with them at length about this, and I understand their point here, trying to be sure to come in with expediency, to try to get a decision made on this so they can finish the project.
Thank you very much. I'm going to reserve, Mr. Chairman, but I'm just going to make a final point that, and I may be looking at this too narrow, but to say that the building permit was approved, the bulkheads weren't on it. So the bulkheads weren't approved. I understand the dilemma that they're in. We're only talking about a couple of feet.
Well, I think they're referencing the question of whether or not they consider a bulkhead a staircase or not.
Right.
That's what I see where the issue is.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, if it's an accessory, and it's just my personal opinion here, but if it's gonna be just an entryway for utility services, it's basically a covered staircase.
Yeah, no, I don't
And
disagree.
So I see the point of them not being on the plan, but, if you think about it, you could probably put a set of staircase down there that would take up that same space and that same footprint, and it would not make a difference at all, because they just go into the setback okay. So I think because this is more of a foundation structure, so to speak.
I don't disagree. I don't
I think
disagree.
that's where they're
I mean,
just
there's a-
seeking clarification.
There's a pragmatic matter of it being 3 feet and it's a staircase.
And, I think, keep in mind too, I just want to remind the board that we approved this lot under this design several years ago at one point, and I don't think it actually went into fruition. I don't know, maybe it
Didn't,
continued.
because they came back.
But it did come back,
Yeah.
right? But I think if you remember about 8 years ago or so, probably maybe more, we had approved this for a different client.
Right.
Or a different applicant. So, again, for what that's worth.
So the issue here is just covering it.
Yeah, it's just.
Stairs are allowed.
The
It's
stairs
just
are
putting
allowed,
the covers on.
and it's whether you deem it a cover. Because if you deem it a cover, well, then you open up to someone later on coming on, because it's got a variance for that extension. They then could come to the building department, build the walls up, and use that for egress, and now it'd be egress stairs.
Right.
Which it was not intended. It's ordered to be in for service. So, Caleb and I went back and forth on this. And that's why we finally said, well, no, we just have to just send it to the board, because we just couldn't come up with a decision ourselves to be sure how you'd want to.
So could we condition this? Like, put doors on, bulkheads and then condition it so it can't be ever changed?
I mean, I certainly think we could, but I mean, I think if they were planning on changing it in the future, they would require more plans, and if they were gonna open it up, but we could also make a condition if they choose to try to modify in the future, then it has to be brought back before the board, and the permit has to be reviewed. So there's a couple of different paths we could take on it.
Just through the chair, it's gonna be a variance, so a variance is gonna run with the land and recorded at the registry.
Right.
So we certainly, I think, can condition that it cannot be used as a method of egress, should we decide to go
Sure,
forward with the
if you-
permit.
yep, yep.
I think, that's my
Right.
personal opinion.
I would agree with that, yeah.
And I do think that we as a board, through the chair, of course, we do tend to pay very close attention to the 4 prongs that are required for a variance, and
Where I was going next.
we have made it a point to make sure that those, all 4 of those prongs are met. And I think we usually do it on the record for a multitude of reasons. And I think I would argue that I think we all agree that the topography is the one that always gives us the most trouble. But I do want to point out that it does, the bylaw, the rule does say, circumstances related to soil conditions, shape, topography of land or structures. The structure is already there, under a permit that we have given, and the stairs don't count. I mean, without, I guess, divulging my personal
no,
vote,
I
think
needed
that
that.
is the clause that we always have a problem with. And
I needed that. I think.
frankly, not covering it, I think creates more of a problem than covering it, in my opinion. That was probably more for discussion
I like the
than,
bulkheads with condition,
but yes, we can condition
that it stays
on a variance.
bulkheads.
Right.
Yeah, I'm challenged with, the only one that I see that checks the box is this is truly a hardship of how this is laying out where it's there.
It is, and I think if they were here before the structure was in, you got a problem. But they're not.
Which is back to forgiveness instead of permission.
Right, but not any malice, in my
Right.
opinion.
I don't think there's any malice of forethought on this particular one either. I used that one last month on my thing, but I don't think there was any ill intent. And I also think that, quite frankly, the addition of the foundations with basements in them for storage for the occupants and, utilities, honestly, I think it's a larger investment in the property as well, because of slabs, they just are what they are, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, no doubt.
So I think, it's a commitment from the ownership seemed to me, to improve the property as much as they can and do the right thing. And again, we've had these situations before. I'm just using the examples of people that have come before us with signs and said, hey, we caught an issue and they've, they corrected it. I think this is what one of those cases is they've caught an issue and they're coming to correct it and make it right. So that's kind of how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel immensely better if we had an abutter with that existing garage and dwelling right off of it. And if they shared comments, nothing came forward,
One
right?
side the police station?
No, there's abutters on both
Oh,
sides.
there is, okay.
Yeah, there's abutters on both sides.
But again, I think with bulk, we're talking about a couple of 3-foot stairs here. That's all they really are. I don't think, if there's no abutters present, there's no concern.
And there won't be people coming in and out, I think
That's the key, it's service.
Yeah, I mean,
just
you're looking at
service, so
plumbers,
it's-
electricians, HVAC people probably,
So for the neighbors, they're not gonna have people like hanging out and coming in and out.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I know people that have that similar situation, and I don't think they've ever even walked in their bulkhead.
Unless they think that hanging out at the bulkhead is cool.
Yeah. Honestly, I know a lot of people that do, and they literally don't even use it. It's just there because they have to have emergency. What if there's a fire in the basement and they need to put a hose down there?
No, I agree.
I never
Right.
liked taking wash machines and dryers out of the bulkhead.
No, but Mr. Chairman, on point, I appreciate the comments from the building commissioner and the debate that he had with Caleb, and I agree with you. I don't think there's any malice here, or ill intent. I would, and we're talking about a small measure. I do think that what I'm challenged with is I think it's a climb to back into a variance with our conditions in a variance. But I see my colleague's point.
And I see that I think that I honestly, I think we're basically just filling a gap for the town, quite honestly. I think, the town almost seems to me that they sought clarification because they wanted to make sure the board was going to be okay with it. So that's how I would really see it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and thank you for having the discussion in open session, but give the applicant an opportunity to weigh in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot of thoughtful comments, and thank you, member, with respect to the argument with respect to the existing structure, which clearly was permitted. I guess I'll note as well, shape is one of the criteria in that first prong. The shape of this lot, it is more narrow in relation to, which speaks directly to the side yard and ability to be able to comply with that. There was mention as well with respect to access, how was this bulkhead going to be utilized? Usually, in most cases, it won't be. So it's not as if there's going to be high traffic coming in and out of this bulkhead like it's a front door. The other thing I'll mention too is with respect to that side yard, my client is also contemplating erecting a decorative fence, so a PVC decorative white fence. So that would also mitigate any type of a visual impact that there could be. This is a residential neighborhood, it's a residential development, but given that my client is still mindful of the neighbors and is looking to erect a fence to provide some mitigation in that regard. Just so I'm clear, given that this requires a 4/5 at least vote for approval, is that correct? We need 4 positive votes, and the 5 members are here, all here, correct? So it sounds as though we have at least 4 potential positive votes. Just because of the importance of this, is it possible that I might be able to get a sort of a straw poll or pulse from the members before a vote is actually taken?
So we really can't give you a poll, unfortunately. That's kind of, I
admire him for trying.
I do.
It was very thoughtful in the way he asked.
So I don't think there's going to, I can't say, but I think that.
I think there was an abutter.
Do we have an abutter? Can
If you
just
could go
approach
to the lectern.
lectern, please, ma'am?
My husband normally does this meeting, so I'm like, this is all foreign to me. Everything that you guys said went from.
If you could state your name for the record.
My name is Evelyn. I live right across from, I live at 402 Oxford. So I'm right across from pretty much where you guys are talking about. Yeah, pretty much. How is this going to impact my house? That's all I care about. My husband's supposed to be here, but he couldn't, so I just want to know.
So are you the, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to get proximity. Are you the abutter that's got that garage and that house that's right out off the bulkheads that I'm seeing in your diagram?
That is correct.
Oh,
So I'm like
then
at 402.
That's exactly what I asked for. Thank you so much for being
I'm
here.
just like curious to know how it's going to impact my property. Honestly, everything else I don't really care about. I'm like tired. I run my own practice, so for me, it's more like if you have anything therapeutic, I can answer. Anything else, it's all foreign to me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you very
Just
much
wondering.
for being patient.
That's exactly what I asked for.
Okay.
Appreciate it. So just in terms of the visual, 402, her dwelling is right here. And the bulkheads, as you can see, are in this area here. And I just mentioned the fence is going to be in that location as well. So in terms of the impact of the project, I mean, to be honest, mostly it's construction-related activities that are happening now, which is never easy when you're right next to a residential abutter. But my client, I could say, is a responsible, good corporate citizen as far as developers go. They've been working, I believe, I don't know if there have been any complaints in terms of working outside of the town's construction hours. But I will say that, as I mentioned, the majority of the project, especially heavy-use vehicles or large-scale excavation work, that work is all completed. They will be transitioning to fully interior work, fit-up work in the coming days. They have to do some trenching work before they do that, but with respect to some of the utilities. But at this point, they're pretty much going to be focused on finishing the interiors, and then they'll be done. And that construction project will be past them.
Okay. Thank you very much.
To the abutter, do you realize he's going to put a fence up? So you, okay. And the bulkheads are going to be 7 feet from your property line versus 10 feet. That's what they're here for. The bulkheads going into the basement.
If you can just go, so if you can just come back to the lectern for a minute, and then, so that way we just want to make sure, for the record, you
Yeah.
understand what we're talking about, because you weren't sure before. That's all.
I just want to make sure she's clear.
So-
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead. So your concerns were how it was going to affect your property.
Yes, that's all I care
So
about.
what they had just discussed, for the record, just to be clear, that they would be, we require 10 feet setback for these bulkheads they're talking about. We're gonna give them, if the board so sees fit, it would be 3 foot closer to your property line. But they had discussed putting up a fence. So it really isn't gonna affect your property at all, and you're gonna get a fence out of it. But, you need to understand, we want you to know as an abutter what would really be going on here.
Okay. I think my husband might have spoken to them about,
You explain that? Oh, yeah. Can you go up and introduce yourself real quick and just tell?
I'm the owner of 404 Oxford Street. So basically, nothing's going to change. That's what you see right now. The bulkheads that are already in place are staying where they are. And then we're going to erect the fence right on the property line that we have. So nothing's going to change from I think that's, you're asking if something's, because he's trying, I think you're describing that it's coming closer to our property line. I think she's visually thinking we're going to pick them up and move them 3 feet closer. Yeah, everything
They're
that's
staying
in
where they
is
are now.
staying in where they are now, yes.
so you're just gonna put up the fence?
Fence,
up
correct,
A
right
little
where-
bit further?
Right on the
away from-
property, yeah, right on our property line right there, yep. That's it.
Are you okay with that?
My husband would be the one to answer that, honestly, but.
I need you to speak into the microphone. I'm sorry.
My husband would be the one to answer that. Honestly, I don't really know much about like construction, but from what you're describing, it doesn't seem to be like something that's going to impact my property. As long as it doesn't impact my property, we're good. But if it does, my attorney will see you.
I think it sounds like to me, all the impact of your property is over with at this point, and it's cleanup time. Right? Okay. 1 second. Do I have any other questions or concerns?
I'm just going to put it on record, Mr. Chairman, if I may, because I know that when they first brought up the idea of a fence, it was that I believe the language he used was that they were proposing or open to it, but it sounds like they've committed to it.
I mean, and the neighbor doesn't have an issue with it.
I don't think it gets any better than this. For 3 feet.
Right.
On an oversight that really wasn't.
We can condition for that.
Right.
Okay. So do I have a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
Yeah, unless the applicant has
I'm
any
sorry.
additional comments.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Thank
make a
you.
motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I approve. Any further discussion?
I don't have any discussion, Mr. Chairman, although I know Mr. Cussy had some thoughtful thoughts about perhaps conditioning the variance.
Yep.
And so I'm going to refrain from making the original motion
Gotcha.
and defer to Ms. Cussy or the board members to make the motion to add those considerations for conditioning it.
Okay. Mr. Cussy, would you like to make the motion? I'll read it, and then you can add
Yeah,
the conditions.
I'd make a motion to grant.
Okay, so we have a 6:40 PM applicant, GM Properties LLC, requesting a variance under section 9.5 of the Auburn zoning bylaw to provide relief from the side setback requirement in table 5.4 of the Auburn zoning bylaw on property located at 404 Oxford Street, Auburn, Mass., map 40, parcel 82. I'd need a motion to grant as submitted with conditions, whatever you're looking for.
Conditions, and only bulkheads, no, just bulkheads, no changing it to,
Right, no future expansion.
right, only for service and storage.
And fence?
Yeah, we'll condition the fence in that also.
Okay. Is everybody happy with that?
I'm happy.
All right, so Mr. Cussy has made a motion to approve with standard conditions, adding a fence, not being able to improve the bulkhead areas. Do I have a second on that?
And I'll second as stated, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, so Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
Approve.
Ms. Roach?
I approve.
Ms. Bush?
I approve.
And I approve. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen.
Thanks for your patience this evening.
Thank you very
We had
much.
to vet all this, I apologize, but thank you very much.
Good luck.
Apology on this. This is our first time, so.
Well, you did very well. We try to be quite thorough, but thank you for your patience this evening.
Through the chair, I just want to thank the little guy in the audience who's been
I know.
so
Yeah.
patient,
So good.
so patient the entire
Thank you very
time.
much. It's too bad those ladies didn't bring cookies, would have gave them to you.
Here,
Okay,
here.
so do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, motion to close the hearing.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy? Ms. Roach?
Approve.
Ms. Bush?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. Okay, so, hold on.
Yeah.
Before we go any further.
Yep.
The next meeting is April 18th, 2024.
Because we were back and forth.
So if you have any questions, concerns, or applications, please do so before the deadline for that meeting.
He seems to be.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Vice Chair Maron?
I approve.
Mr. Cussy?
I
Ms. Roach?
approve.
Ms. Bush? And I vote to approve. Thank you all. The meeting is adjourned.